How's it going, Vikings fans? Welcome into another Wednesday edition of the Skol Experience with GG Sports Podcast, Minnesota Sports Talk. And tonight we are joined by Mike of Mic'd Up Podcast. Mike, how is it going tonight?
I'm good. Casey. I'm looking forward to training camp and everything for this offseason to finally be over with.
Yeah, the offseason is an incredibly slow time. Jamie and I just recorded a video before we hopped on here, and we were trying to think of things to talk about, and we came up with something, but it took a while. It's so for us, for people like to create content on Viking stuff, it is incredibly impossible to find anything to talk about at this time of year, but we all got to do it. We all got to.
I just use the Jedi mind trick and say Jamie through
up with the idea
with my thumbs.
It does work.
Jamie,
and then also think boom, of the idea. Here we are.
Exactly.
And
but hey, Casey, I got a question. What other edition do we have other than a Wednesday edition?
That's a great question, actually. But,
it's all of our Wednesday edition. I'm
already critiquing the show. A minute and a half in.
He's making Casey speechless. He's questioning him too hard already. Hey, what's going on, Bob Sweet? Skol Mafia, Skol Fest. What's up? Yep. So Skol Fest. I actually probably should have grabbed one of the banners in the group chat that we have here. But Skol Fest home opener. All of us are going to be there. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be at, what is it? I probably should have had all this information ready. I forgot what the bar's name is.
Northeast Palace?
Yeah, Northeast Palace in Minneapolis. Man, it looks like we're going to have food, giveaways, guests, live show, everything. So everybody who's in here and watches this now or after, they should definitely go to that bar Saturday night, the day before home opener. And I think it's going to be a great time. We're going
to try to sneak Mike through customs.
Yep. We're bringing Mike. Do you have a passport, Mike?
That I do have, yeah.
Oh, so Mike's good.
So you don't need to sneak me through.
Yeah, we still want to sneak him through anyways. It'll be interesting. So it's going to be a good time.
Sneaking him through the Great North Passage.
Yeah. Let's go.
Bring you down to Minnesota. Otherwise, you could call it Little Canada, pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much. You might not even need a passport to go to Minnesota. What's going on, AJ? What's going on?
Just be cool at the border and say "you betcha" a lot.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. That's a secret code. What up, Tony? What's going on, dude? Come on, September 9th. Dude, I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. Skol Mafia is coming from New York. So Green Bay stole that one quarterback they recently signed. One quarterback they recently signed. Who's that? I don't know what you're talking about.
You're a Packers fan. You should know this.
Here's finally a reason to
Sarah
buy Madden.
So again, #Skol. So I mentioned this last week. I'm not giving a card away this week or next week because I'm moving and I don't want to send a card out and have it get delivered back to me. And that's not my address anymore. So I'm going to wait until I get to my next place. But it'll just be a set. We'll be ready for pretty much for training camp. So it'll be good. It'll be good either way.
Jamie, you have a job that you work from home that you can travel like that with your wife?
Yep. So no, I'm just kidding. Unless you guys want to help me with this, and then maybe this can be someday. No, I do marketing, freelance marketing and stuff at home.
Oh.
So
it is way cooler than it sounds.
I wonder you could do whatever we ask.
Yeah, pretty much. I do. I've been working a lot with all the AI stuff, the Chat GPT stuff, other AI stuff. Right now we're building multiple YouTube pages for these viral clips things. Kind of a lot to get into right now, but so that's kind of what I do to make money. And then eventually, because of all our great people in our comments here, someday hopefully we can add this to the list of that money making. But
he's out there framing politicians with AI.
Yeah, that's what I do. I make politicians say things that they wouldn't usually say.
Or actors.
It is the weird thing about the AI stuff. But what's going on, Sculpture Soup? Sculpture, are you going to be there? You going to be at Skol Fest?
Better be.
Yeah, you better be. Bob Sweet, better see you there. I don't think you're from Minnesota, though, are you, Bob? I don't believe so.
There's planes.
You don't have a P.O. box? No, I don't have a P.O. box. It might be a smart idea since you're moving all over the place, Yeah, but where would I have the PO box at? Would that just go to the like
That's true.
in one?
That's true.
Yeah, because it would be
My
mass-
wife's a travel nurse. Yeah, my wife's a travel nurse. So we travel like right now I'm in Colorado. I'll be headed to Boston in a couple weeks, and then we just keep going all over the place. So it's not really. I have a Minnesota address, but obviously, like I don't want the cards to go back there because then I won't be able to get them either.
the Minnesota accent meets the Boston accent. I want to see that child.
Yeah, and not
you're
just
getting-
that, but also the Minnesota nice versus like the straightforward.
I was gonna
of
say
Boston.
you're getting to see a lot of just different parts of the country and how they act. You know, like the Midwesterners are the
interesting.
nice ones. Like then you got those outliers
Boston
out on the
hooligan.
borders.
The Boston, yeah, at least Boston's
on either
straightforward.
side.
Some of them they just
True.
beat around the bush. It's the what is it called? The passive aggressive that you can
feel like
see
that,
in Minnesota and stuff.
Like that Boston, like
Hell
Boston.
yeah, Scolger, let's go.
Yeah, it's passive
go,
aggressive
Barber.
versus directly aggressive. I think that's how the
Kind
difference.
of like
Pass AI for powerful numbers,
when
it
you get into
wouldn't.
that, like when you get
That's
into that
funny.
grouping of like Boston, New York, and Philadelphia, you get all those.
I live in
you
Minnesota,
definitely get
but I
the-
was
you
born
get-
in
definitely
New
get the straight
Jersey.
up aggressiveness.
Oh, sorry. I have
Maybe there's something
straightforwardness
wrong
about
with
me.
you. New Jersey. This goes in Canada.
Yeah, it'll
Born
be
in New
interesting.
Jersey.
I want to see kind of how it is. I mean, I've been to like New York and stuff before, and I could tell the difference. Like really straightforward. Like someone's really straightforward. I'm like, whoa, I'm not used to that. And then the next thing, they're like super nice. So you're like, okay, that's just kind of how it is. It's not just everybody always trying to be nice, whether they mean it or not. It's a big difference.
Yeah, Scolger Soup. I was going to ask you how that transition went. I mean, but you said like they think you're mean when you're just being direct. Like it's
Yeah.
got to be a weird transition. Like when you go to a place where literally, like, come from a place where literally it's just like he said, you're straightforward about everything, and you come here and everybody's so like, oh, that's fine. No, it's okay. I didn't need it. It's fine. No, you're good.
Yeah,
Don't worry
and then
about it.
they're
You go ahead of me.
They're plotting
You go
your
ahead of me. You're
murder.
good. You're good.
Plotting your murder right after that. Sounds like Minnesota.
Right? Exactly.
Wood chipper,
Leads to-
Yeah,
Leads
like Fargo.
leads to confrontations. Never would have guessed. Never
yeah. That's funny. That's funny. So, anyways, enough about my situation. Let's talk more about the Vikings. And you had the Justin Jefferson. I'm passive aggressive. We'll say something direct, something directed at someone, but say if the shoe fits. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, Justin Jefferson, 99 Madden. The first time he's been 99. I don't know how many players were 99 this year. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes probably was Patrick Mahomes one of them probably.
Well, 3 so far. So far, it's been Justin Jefferson. It was Aaron Donald, and then Zach Martin.
Yeah,
They removed one
Which
from
was-
Mahomes and made him a 98 because of Jackson Mahomes.
Which
I
was
don't
I
blame
wish
that.
they would do that, but they haven't released quarterbacks yet.
Hey, they already didn't put him in the
that's-
quarterback
yeah,
series, right?
That's
Well,
gonna,
the eighth thing, you saw him a couple of times. He just didn't have a speaking role. He showed up in episode 8. I saw.
Oh, did he? Did he?
But like Mahomes, when quarterbacks are released, Mahomes is definitely going to be in the 99 club. Like there's no question about it. The guy's just ridiculously good at what he does. But it was funny though. It was like they announced like the Zach Martin being the number 90, like being a number 99 right after those rumors came out about him being frustrated with his contract. I'm like, hey, if there's anything that helps you in contract negotiations, you point to Madden and be like, I'm a 99, pay me more money.
Yeah,
We'll see if
I
it
know.
works for him.
Who would have guessed that Madden of all things would be the one to give Justin Jefferson the respect he deserves after
Unlike
all
that-
this nonsense coming out in the last few weeks.
Yeah, like the guy
Keyshawn
on
Johnson.
the cumulative rankings on ESPN, where Justin Jefferson was cumulatively number 1, but they said the lowest ranking he got was number 7, which is ridiculous. Like, who was the clown that decided to put him? at number
Keyshawn.
7?
It's got to be.
He's got it. I don't. He doesn't work for ESPN anymore, though. He doesn't
Yeah,
get
he
the chance to put him at number 7.
He literally got fired the day after.
Well, maybe they would have put him on the list prior to him leaving because they laid him off prior. Like Kiwi knew, maybe they did the list and then just released it. It's possible.
Angler, I agree. ESPN straight garbage. I love nothing. The only thing I have ESPN for still is just to
What
watch
y'all
Monday Night Football.
corners are gonna? What y'all think the corners are gonna get? I think what is it? Jareer Alexander?
Jair.
89.
Still pretty good. I take an 89.
What are they going to give Kirk
He's-
Cousins this year? What was it? 83
Hey, what up,
last year?
Yogi?
Yeah, I think it was something crazy, like an 83 last year or something like that.
I was in Chicago and got constantly honked at for letting people into traffic. Yeah, I heard the traffic in Boston's supposed to be crazy. Fire cap. Yeah. 89. That sounds good for him.
I literally live in the worst driving area in the world. It's because all these countries have different driving laws, and they all fucking moved to Miami.
Yeah, I've been to like
to be in Miami.
And then you sprinkle in the little guys with too much money and driving their BMWs around as fast as they fucking can.
Yeah,
I'm swearing a lot today.
Well, I've been to like Dominican Republic and Jamaica and stuff, and those places are crazy with their driving, just crazy.
Short story here.
Stuff like that.
I mean,
have you worked there? Have you worked there, Jamie, or was it for just vacation?
Just vacation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would be quite the move.
Yeah. I would. I'm not opposed to something like that. I would love to move somewhere like that someday.
Well, it'd be hot. It'd be hot.
I like that. That's why I'm not in Minnesota anymore, because I don't like the cold. I'm surprised you're staying in Canada this long.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind it that much. Yeah, winter's a little annoying, but it is what it is. Yeah, you learn to embrace it over time.
Right.
That is fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. By the way, I saw someone ask about the corner we cut. It was John Reed.
John Reed, yeah.
Yep.
John Reed, which opens 2 spots on our roster. So I guess let's jump into that. So we have 2 open spots. What do you think happens with those spots? I'll start with you, Mike.
Oh boy, putting me on the spot immediately.
I actually found out because of, I believe your tweet. So that's why I asked you first.
It's possible. So I'll go with something bold here. Let's say we get a reunion of Yannick Ngakoue just to have fun with it, and then we'll bring in probably some sort of camp body player, because there's no way the Vikings are making 2 impactful moves.
Yes.
Do we end up getting a third roster spot by trading Danielle Hunter?
I hope not.
Yeah,
For the love of God, I hope not.
I think that's what I saw actually, is you retweeted that with Denzel Mims getting cut from the Jets. So what
hasn't happened yet. It looks like they're going to trade him.
Okay, they're going to try to. They've been trying to do that for a couple of years now. He's an example of someone that like just never got an opportunity, even though he was a first-round pick, right? First or second?
Second round pick.
I liked him a lot too. So that should be
the thing I'd like about Mims when I mentioned him is the idea to have a 6'3" receiver. Like, I looked it up today just to confirm. The tallest receiver on our roster that we expect to make the roster is 6'1". Malik Knowles, who Dave did a video on, the undrafted kid out of Kansas State, is 6'3". But if I'm being perfectly honest, it is more likely he doesn't make the team than he does. I would not mind a big body wide receiver. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that is like the one thing we're missing.
Knowles is wide receiver
jump ball guy.
Yeah, what do you? Speaking of big body wide receivers, what do you guys think of Hopkins choosing Tennessee?
Money. I'm not surprised.
Money.
He said all these things like, I want a team with a good defense, a good quarterback, and they have a good defense. I think Mike Vrabel is a really good head coach / defensive guy. But the quarterback thing, it's a big question mark there. Like, Tannehill is good. Like, I would say he's okay to good, somewhere in that range. They have Derrick Henry, of course, which is huge. But outside of that, like, yeah, I mean, for a guy that said it was all about being competitive and wanting to win, it was definitely felt like a money move.
Do you remember Hard Knocks when it was in Miami and Tannehill was a rookie quarterback and he came in and they asked him, at the table, they said, can you name the other teams in the division? And he couldn't.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I did not.
That's
know that.
crazy.
That was the year Ocho Cinco went on some swearing tirade he got called into the office and they ended up letting him go.
Dang.
I haven't watched it since.
I haven't watched it in a while.
Hard Knocks in general?
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Wow.
I haven't been either. I think I got salty after.
Well, I don't have HBO, right? It's on HBO, right?
Yeah.
I have HBO, but
if you get NFL Game Pass, it's on there too, I believe.
I think it will now. I got one of those cracked Amazon Prime, whatever, fireboxes coming.
Yeah.
Don't tell all these people. I'm gonna get arrested for pirating.
Only Titans offering money. Yeah, because I think I heard the Bills offered him a contract, but it wasn't even close to
Yeah.
the money that the
Yeah.
Titans.
No. And this is the thing too, guys. Two things. Since you brought up Ryan Tannehill, Casey,
Mac Jones. It's a tough one.
I'm old enough to remember everyone telling me in 2020 that Ryan Tannehill was better than Kirk Cousins. I think that's changed quite a bit since then. That was the dumbest thing.
It's the new Jared Goff.
Yes.
So I
yes.
saw Tannehill play 8 years ago against us in Zimmer's first year, and we were up by 3 scores. And he dropped over 400 yards on us. It was ridiculous. He could not miss. He went insane. I was like, people are hard on this guy. This guy's killing us. And he is super inconsistent. But
so we'll jump to this real quick. Do you choose Tannehill or Mac Jones? I would have
Mac Jones. Mac Jones.
You have to go
Mac Jones.
I mean, at the very least, he has youth. Obviously, he's been disappointing ever since his rookie season, but I'd have to go Mac Jones over Tannehill.
Like we talk about how the team around and the coaching staff around a player matters. Like Matt Patricia was the worst offensive coordinator in football last season, and it was not particularly close. Bill O'Brien steps in his place. Bill O'Brien, yes, there was a lot of stupidity at the end of his tenure in Houston when he took over as a GM, but as a straight offensive coordinator, he's one of the better minds in all of football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere he's been, his offense has been pretty solid in the NFL.
Yesterday, they fact-checked me on Chili. And I said yesterday that Chili had a good offensive mind, and the chat went crazy on me.
With Favre, at least they did go on a run. Obviously, it's Brett Favre, so he'll lead a lot of offenses.
And I said, well, hey, we went to the playoffs with Tavares Jackson, so I'm like, something going.
Childress. Oh, no, man.
But I was on fire just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Leslie Frazier. He's an example of someone that just did not work out as head coach, but man, he's been
really
great
good
defensive
coordinator.
Right, he was terrible. For we had one of the
Skol Fest
worst
2023.
years.
Everybody, once again, sorry,
we had one of the worst years defensively under him, and it's funny because he was the defensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Powerball ticket? What's the Powerball? The Powerball must be pretty high, huh?
900 million, I think.
Ooh.
I saw.
It was 900 million a few days ago, so
might be up.
Is it
even
$1 billion
further.
yet?
Let's look it up.
Powerball.
I need it to hit at least $1 billion. You know, you just got to go by.
I remember back in the day.
900 isn't
900
million is not enough money. Not these days. No, you gotta buy like just even one ticket, just so you have just the smallest chance.
$1 billion.
You know?
Estimated jackpot. Next Powerball drawing.
Cash
$1
value.
billion.
Thank God I'm not Tannehill. Y'all think I'm hard on Kirk? Oh boy, I'd be demanding for Tannehill's head. Yeah, at least they got 2 young quarterbacks sitting behind Tannehill, though.
Yeah. Is the Mega Bowl a nationwide thing? Like anyone in the States can win it, like someone from Alaska, for example, or is it certain states? Because the pool is so high all the time, and I see it from a distance.
Powerball is not all 50 states.
No, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I find it incredible how high
a lot of them, though,
the pod goes.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Good amount.
Let's see. All but 5 states, Alabama, Alaska, Hawaii, Nevada, and Utah, have passed on the opportunity or vetoed proposals to participate in the statewide multi-lottery programs.
Okay.
I actually didn't know that either.
It used to be when I was a kid. It just started, and I remember this person won from Gregory, South Dakota, and worked in the convenience store. So that they got sued by the convenience store owner saying it was theirs. And it was crazy, and that was like $7 million. It's like, dang. Oh my god, $7 million! Now it's a fucking billion.
Do you know? Have you ever played the crossword scratch offs? They're really popular.
No,
you
I don't know what a pull tab is. So.
You don't know? You actually don't know what a pull tab is?
I don't know. We don't have pull tabs.
Okay, I'm not going into it if you don't know what it is. Pretty much, I thought I lost a bunch of money, but I didn't. That's what I was gonna go with that. If I win, I can almost buy a football team. Just need to find about another 6 to 7 billion. Dude, I was just looking at a thing. Mark Cuban bought the Mavericks for like $50 million, and now they're worth like $7 billion.
Doesn't it seem
Crazy
kind of
as that.
nuts? Doesn't it seem kind of nuts at the Powerball? You can't like. There's no because they said you can't buy Powerball tickets because there's no like state lotteries in those states. Doesn't it seem odd that Vegas wouldn't have that or Nevada.
Wow, that is crazy. That
But
is
I guess
crazy.
maybe they have too much.
compete
Maybe
with
they have too much
casinos.
gambling over the entire
Yeah,
state.
I know. I
right
think
away.
they're like
compete
they
with
probably hate,
casinos.
right. They probably hate all the other anything that has to do with gambling outside of Vegas.
right.
Totally.
It's
Hey,
probably
what's
the
going on,
risk
Raymond?
factor. It's probably the risk factor too, because if someone actually hits it, the amount of money they'd have to pay out compared to like the gambling, they make so much money on sports gambling, you know?
They hit it. Someone wins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, anyway, I was saying like I bet some states probably don't want to pay that out, right? If it's that much
that's
money.
fair. And Vegas already probably has a
Exactly.
Well, it's
the thing is they probably make more.
It's a pool of money.
yeah.
The money's there to pay it.
Yeah. So we pay for every ticket that's bought goes towards the. I don't know what do they take,
and then they tax the winning,
100%?
so they get the money anyways.
Yeah.
Yes, there is tax on the
And
winners.
even the
So they're
store
making
gets
they're
100
making
if
money.
if
They're
you're the
making
store,
money.
if you're the store and you give a winning ticket, they give you $100,000.
Ooh, I hear that. If I win, I'll send everyone here $100. I mean, I'll take if you win $1 billion.
I'll bump it up to 10,000. I'll give you $10,000, Sarah, if I win the billion.
Sarah, you can't say no. You're from Minnesota. You're not allowed.
Put hashtag Skol, and I'll give
hashtag Skol. If Sarah,
and I'll give away.
Hashtag Skol. If Sarah wins the Powerball, she'll give everybody in here $10,000. There's 7 people, so 7.
Actually 12. You go off.
Hey, Will, you're not counting us.
Oh yeah, plus 4 more.
Anyways, back to Vikings football, right?
Yeah.
So training camps right around the corner. 23rd Sunday, I think, is when the rookies show up. What are we looking forward the most going into this training camp? What's the number one thing, if you have to pick, is the most thing you're excited for going into this? Excited, like just not what you think is the most important, but the thing that you're looking forward to the most. One thing that you are looking to the most, and one thing that it kind of like an underrated thing that you're looking forward to, like something that's maybe not just straightforward. I guess I can start if you want. I'll start. Why not? I'm gonna go. We made a video going in here of the things we're most excited for. So the thing I'm most excited for is Jordan Addison. It's both offense, Jordan Addison, and the wide receiver 2 battle. I don't think that battle's the most important, but I think it's the most exciting to me. Obviously, Jordan Addison's number 1 or first round draft pick. We want to see what we have in him. He's a skill position, so it's going to be fun to watch to see what happens with him during training camp and preseason, all that stuff. That's what I'm excited. I've been obviously hyping up Jordan Addison ever since we drafted him, so I kind of doubled down on that. So that's what I'm excited to see what happens with him. I'm hoping he goes in and takes that wide receiver 2 spot just because he is as skillful as I think he's going to be. But I think it's going to be a fun battle to watch regardless. Underrated thing, and some people probably will agree with this, some people probably don't care, is watching Jaren Hall and just being able to watch him throughout training camp and, maybe that little bit of hope that he could maybe be that guy. Probably not. He's probably going to be a quarterback too, maybe for the rest of his career. But what if he isn't? And we'll be able to watch him throughout preseason and all that stuff. So that's kind of, I guess those are 2 things that I'm excited for. What are you guys thinking?
Sorry, I guess I'll step in then. I guess you want to go, Dave?
Okay.
Canadians first.
Okay, I guess I'll step in. All right. So things I'm looking forward to during training camp, the cornerback battle. I mean, I have no clue. Past Byron Murphy, who's actually going to start, which is not a good thing. We'll see what happens to the Caleb Evans, Booth, Mekhi Blackman. See who emerges. I mean, we need it. Joe John Williams, all those guys. Hopefully, Tay Gowan. I'm pulling for him. Follows me on Twitter, so I hope he has a fantastic preseason, becomes a starter, and shocks a lot of people. And an underrated storyline to watch.
Yeah.
The RB2 battle, I guess. Who can become the backup in the running back committee behind Alexander Madison?
Yeah. Okay.
And by the way, Rick, Mike Castellino was ranked in the top 10 of Twitter personalities by Rick Sosa. So congratulations.
Hey. Speaking of that, there's another. And hey, I agree with we probably don't.
And he also ranked Rick Sosa in the top 10.
He did. Of course he did. I don't agree with everything Sosa says, but I think he was on with that one.
I think you got him. I think you're there, man. You're top 10 in my book.
So what up, Too Evil, Too Hope? Is Mike still excited about Zimmer's return?
Yeah, I'm so pumped. I mean, he's going to emerge like the Royal Rumble out of nowhere mid-November. He's going to become our head coach. It's going to be a great time. Great time.
The Steve Austin music.
Oh, yes. Man. The glass breaks. It's going to be great.
Glass breaks.
Zimmer comes out, puts a big old dip of Red Man in his lip and walks into this onto the sideline.
Kirk Cousins has the most shocked reaction on the bench. It'll be a great time.
Then
man, that would be entertaining. That would definitely
Zimmer hits Cousins with the chair and we go full on WWE.
Kirk would give it to Charity. I don't know if he would. The room
I don't think he would. I am not confident in that.
One bar and Lup are live. Don't they go live in 30 minutes?
Honestly, 14 is kind of normally where we're at. Like it seems like
we'll take it. Hey man, we're good with anybody. As long as there's one person in here watching, we're good about it.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Dave, you were up next.
So looking excited. So I want to say
it was like, what am I more excited about, or what am I more have anxiety about? It's like
both.
But excited. I'm actually on Jamie's train. I'm really excited about what the offense is going to look like, because if we move the ball at will kind of thing, that defense could be pretty mediocre and still look good if we keep that defense on the off the field. So I'm looking forward to see what our offense can do. The position battle, definitely. I was agreeing with you, Jamie. I want to see Jalen Naylor surprise everybody.
I do too. I don't
come out of the gate.
Yeah, I
get on the field.
I want Naylor to. I would love for him to look really good, but I don't want him to look better than Jordan Addison. I
don't want that either, because
it's hard for
value. You want
exactly.
You want your investment the investment you thought was going to win, right?
Or best case scenario, Jordan Addison's a stud and Jalen Naylor was just,
more of a stud.
Insane pick. Huge value.
So are we moving KJ down to wide receiver 4 then? Which I'm honest to God, I'm not totally against if it plays out that way.
Next year and won't matter.
Yes, agree. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So
McBride, I think, holy crap, that guy is going to be our starting running back sooner than later. I just think he's going to be.
I could see that. I just look at it from a perspective of who we're going to have to pay to that point. KJ feels like one of those guys that if you're going to throw some money at somebody, he's one of those guys that I think will be one where Kwesi's like, we like him. He's a good wide receiver 3, maybe low level 2, but a solid wide receiver 3. But man, we're paying all these other guys. It's one of those guys where we're just going to have to let him go and we're going to have to draft his replacement and keep building with what we have. I think that's be one of those things, because there's going to be, as we've all talked about it ad nauseum, a lot of guys where we imagine are going to be on big money contracts, and a guy like KJ, I feel like you don't spend the money to bring him back when you're going to have that much.
There was a stat that McBride had like 1,700 yards rushing, right? 1,000 of it was after contact. 1,000 of it.
UAB, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, with the way the running back position is now, he's going to want to avoid getting hit. So,
Clip that. Castellanos a hater, hates McBride.
What are you guys' thoughts? And we'll get back to this quick thoughts, I guess, on this whole running back thing, because there's with Saquon and I know Casey's opinion for sure, but Saquon and Jacobs not getting the extension they wanted or anything.
Pollard too.
And Pollard too. So now it sounds like, obviously we saw what Matt Miller said. I'm assuming everybody saw that. Did everyone see?
No, I haven't seen that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Matt Miller just gave like a basic thing. I think he said, draft the running back. If he's good, what is it? Draft a running back. If he's good, sign him to a 1-year
extension.
Not extend or 1 year. what's it called? Franchise
Franchise
tag.
franchise tag.
And then let them go type of thing. So he said that, and all the running backs were like super disrespected by his comments on there, which, I mean, Matt Miller was just saying how it is. So that is true. But obviously if you're running backs, you're like, this is terrible. We should be getting more money or whatever. So now it sounds like all these running backs are in like a group chat together, and it sounds like they're trying to figure out how, as a collective group, could they come and change that, the whole thing with them being devalued and not being paid what they're worth. What's your guys' thoughts on that whole thing? Like, just the running back thing in general, any of that?
I'll start it off. So we're all in a group chat. I don't think we think we're going to become bigger than Purple Daily, do we? So it's kind of the same idea, right? Where they could be in this group chat all they like. They ain't changing nothing. It's the way it is. Quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, and then interior O-line, and then tight end. That's how you value it. Running back's dead last on offense. Sorry. If people get offended by that, so be it. The Vikings are the best testament to this. We paid Adrian Peterson. We paid
long snappers get screwed.
I'm not so sure about that, but
anyway, more than running back, so they're probably in a good spot.
Running backs are not valuable. I'm sorry. Look at that stat that's gone on since Pierre Thomas and the Saints won the Super Bowl. The base salary of Super Bowl winning running backs has been $2.5 million and lower. It's just the way it is. Sorry. The Todd Gurley's, the Zekes, the Dalvin Cooks, the Kamara, those contracts don't age well. They've all aged poorly. I don't know why people think this is a big deal. To be honest, running back should have seen this coming. That's just the way it's going. It is what it is.
Right. And then I know there was a thing they were saying about the running backs kind of getting like their own contract structure or whatever, which is a thought. But then that's going to open the door for every position to be like, well, wait, but if they get that, then why don't we? And then it's going to become a whole big thing, and it's going to be messy. But it's one of those things where, I mean, they've been saying it for years, like kind of like Mike said, like the running back position. Well, having a good running back is nice. It's a luxury. Yep. It's not a recommendation. You can find cheap ones that are younger, and the thing with them is they get hit every play, because if they're not running the ball, they're out there blocking. So it's like they get hit on every play. They're running into the biggest bodies right up the middle, full speed all the time, and it's just it's a bad investment. Like if you think about it as an owner, like if you think about an investment, like it's one of those things where it's like you're gonna buying a nice car and driving it living on a bumpy road. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly. If running backs want to blame anybody, blame Le'Veon Bell. He opened Pandora's box. He held out instead of playing on the take. He got absolutely screwed over in free agency because he did that. He got nothing from the Jets. His career basically washed out from there on forward. And owners see that. I'm sorry. Like, it's just the way it is. Like, people need to embrace this. And, like, I don't understand how they didn't see this coming. All these guys should have signed whatever deals they were offered. And Saquon Barkley's one that sticks out. The Giants offered him a 3-year deal worth like $13 or $12 million a year. He should have taken it. That's on him.
Yeah, I would say I mean, I get it from their point of view. I definitely get it from a running back's, like what Casey said, they're putting their bodies on the line almost more than anybody on the field. Maybe less than a quarterback who just takes these monster hits. But otherwise, I mean, running backs, their whole job is to pretty much get hit. So, and they are a skilled position, and you could call them as a commodity, but there is some out there. Like I'll say Christian McCaffrey, him going to San Francisco changed that whole offense. And maybe that's a little bit far and in between as far as that goes. But that's the thing. I don't know how they're going. I don't know what they would do to change that they'd have to literally stop all these young, good running backs from coming out of college and stuff, which I don't think that's going to happen. That's just reality of it, is there's not a large enough gap between the best running backs compared to the, to like an average running back, I guess. Like there's just too many really
There's not a big drop off. No, you're right. There's not a big drop off.
But I do feel for them. I feel like they deserve more money from what they do in the game. I think they deserve more money. Unfortunately for them, they're in a wrong era for this, for the business side of things for them. And that's unfortunate because, but what do you do? Like, what if it gets down to the point where running backs were like, nobody wants to be. What if kids these days in high school, they're like, no, what, screw it, I'm not going to try to be a running back. They're not making any money. And you get to a point where now running backs potentially could become a commodity or more than a commodity in the future because nobody wants to be a running back anymore at a young age.
Well, and
so
maybe,
we could see a shift in that way because, and then now, because running back is still important. It's important.
Well, they're not exactly throwing the ball in Pop Warner. So the best player is probably running the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
They are. They are too. Yeah, that is actually. So it is a weird dynamic because I feel like they deserve more money, but the business of it definitely doesn't think so. So I don't know.
So the NFLPA is always in the players' ears, like, don't, like they were mad at Kirk Cousins for taking less money going to the Vikings than the Jets.
Right. So.
I mean, they were mad at him. They didn't want him to do that. And this goes across any other players too. I just use him as an example because he's a Viking. But they're in these players' ears with big time contracts. They don't want them taking less. They're always shooting themselves in the foot. Like when they went and increased the veteran minimum, like veterans have a minimum. Well, that just basically gave the teams the idea why get a veteran, journeyman player when I could just get 2 or 3 rookies or 2 or 3 undrafted free agents to fight for his position, and I keep one of those guys that wins. Why get the veteran for a couple $100,000 more when I could save money and get this guy? It just shoots themselves in the foot. So, and I think I saw, who was it on Twitter talk about holding out like $25 million for the running back position, and dividing them up against, with your running backs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to implement socialism into the NFL. I'm not going to do it.
Well, that's just going to open up the box for every other team wanting to do something like that.
I think would help.
Rumors that eventually they're talking about like a separate quarterback contract scale.
That's what I'm about to say. Is what would help is if you took the quarterback position said, boom, put it over here. The rest of the team is on a So and then divide the rest of the thing
salary
on
cap.
The rest of the team, the salary cap on the rest of the team, but pay your quarterback. That doesn't count against your salary cap.
But then
that would solve that problem right away.
So you mean like for quarterbacks it'd be like an open playing field, like
whatever,
the MOB? You pay them whatever? Oh boy,
that contract scale, like eventually quarterbacks will be making $100 million a year.
The only thing is then no, it doesn't happen often, but then obviously you'd just be able to hold your quarterback forever.
Or you could cap it, even though you a max contract, whatever. Yeah. Like, hey, you can cap
like the NBA
position, like the NBA, but put that all by its own and have it not affect the rest of the team. And I think that would solve it.
See, Sarah, but the issue with that though is that it's not the fact that, I mean, it is a salary cap constraint for sure. Like the GMs, they don't want to give a large portion of the salary cap to a player that is like a running back. Right, but also you have to think about it from a perspective of money as well. Like I don't think it comes down to the owners don't want to pay money for a position where there's a much higher risk of getting injured. Like even look at McCaffrey, right? He got his contract. Yep. The 49ers making that trade, they took on a huge risk because like we're paying him all this money because he already had a contract with Carolina, right?
Well, a lot of the guarantees were eaten by Carolina. They paid him like $2 million last year.
Right. But I mean, but I assume that they're paying him the rest of it. Did they give him another contract or is he on his
Not yet. Okay.
I don't know.
But either way, it's like you bring in a guy like that with the trade and it's, if the money's big, it's a risk for sure, especially with McCaffrey and his injury history. So it all comes down to owners and investments. Like these owners of these teams don't want to make a big money investment in a player who, they put themselves through the most. I shouldn't say the most, but like I said, they're the ones getting hit every play. So I definitely, and Jamie, I agree with you. It sucks to see like any running backs, if they ever watch this, like I get it. I understand your point, but just looking at it from a pure business perspective, there's really not much that's going to happen. And there's not much that, it's tough.
I just want to say something else on this too, just to add on.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
The difference though with Christian McCaffrey is he can run routes. If there was 32 Marshall Faulks in the NFL like Christian McCaffrey that could catch and run the football, this wouldn't be an issue. There's not. And McCaffrey's like the only guy that can have an 1,000-yard receiving season. He's like the only one. It's like Travis Kelce. Here's him, and then there's every other tight end. It's the same type of idea. So that's the problem. And I also think it's greediness too. Look at Dalvin Cook, for example. Apparently he's got a $7 million offer on the table. I don't think it's from Minnesota. I truly believe that is the agent trying to get extra money from Miami or the Jets, whoever is looking at Dalvin. But it's the greediness. The reason why Dalvin ended up being cut by Minnesota was because he wasn't willing to renegotiate his deal like Za'Darius was to initiate his trade, to facilitate a trade. Running backs are greedy, man. They want these 5-year deals. I'm sorry. They need to accept the fact that the reality is it's more likely you're going to get a 3-year extension now. You got to accept it and just take the most guaranteed money you can get.
I think the $7 million, you know what I think it came from? I think it came from the Vikings back in the day when they want him to renegotiate his contract. And he's using that like he's not lying. We did have $7 million, but it's no longer there for you, man. It's not coming from us currently.
No.
We moved on. I 100% think we moved on.
But what do you guys think about that? If running backs learn to run routes, I'm not even being funny or sarcastic, that would increase their value.
I mean, especially if
it's almost like going to have to happen. That's what, like, I brought the whole kids thing up and not being a running back. What's going to happen is you're going to have to learn how to run routes and catch the ball. Yeah, for sure. And you're almost, I mean, it could get to the point where it's like you might have to be playing in the slot a lot more in general. Like almost be a legit hybrid wide receiver running back. If you want to make the money,
the elite money. Yeah.
Elite money. Because even though it's still important, the thing is like, man, it still is important to have that big bruiser running back that can get 3 yards a carry, 3, 4 yards, 5 yards a carry. Like it's always going to be a part of football, an important part of football, that at this pace, eventually, why would anybody want to do that, play that position for that money?
Let me call Leroy Horde. If you need 3 yards, they'll get you 3 yards. If you need 4 yards, they'll get you 3 yards.
But I know Mike brought up Le'Veon Bell, just like because Le'Veon Bell.
That's a good point.
Was Le'Veon Bell?
Melvin Gordon was kind of
Le'Veon Bell, like one of the first ones that was like a really good receiver. At least in
the modern era. It's not even about that. What I meant by the point, he could catch the football.
But I was
in the modern era. I know what you're saying. The modern era.
I was bringing up how good he was. Like,
he was very good, right? But he overthought it. He didn't want to. Like that's $10 million. I know to players it's a little offensive because it's not a long-term commitment. $10 million is $10 million, fully guaranteed. Like. He should have just signed it. And that's what has caused this. Because now teams realize, thanks to Dalvin Cook, Zeke, Mixon, all these guys either getting renegotiated or cut by the end of their 4th or 5th year, it's not worth giving out these 5-year extensions. It's not. And like, even to Le'Veon, he could catch the football. But it wasn't to the level of McCaffrey. So the Steelers said, okay, well, if you're going to be this greedy, we're not giving you a 3-4 year deal at any higher price point that we want. He didn't accept it, and now it's caused all this mess around the league. Teams need to understand that they're doing the right thing and stick by it. I'm sorry. The owners and the GMs that are doing this to running backs are in the right. The running backs and their agents need to realize short-term deals are the way it's going. Unless you can run routes like Christian McCaffrey, that's the only way you're getting a 5-year deal.
Capitalism, man. Capitalism.
And you gotta pick your spots on the cap. It's just the way it is.
And it is kind of crazy now how it has kind of, unless you're a quarterback, because quarterbacks want that long-term money commitment or what have you. But like we have kind of turned into a world now where all these players, they want those shorter deals so they can sign, because I mean, if you like Danielle Hunter, for example, like when he was young, he locked himself into a 5-year contract, right? Is that what it was? 5-year deal when he signed it?
I think that sounds right. 4 or 5. Yeah.
Right. But like now a lot of players saying like, why don't I sign a 3-year deal? And then after 3 years, that I have to wait 5. I can negotiate a new contract when I'm still in my late 20s and still in the prime of my career. So the contract structuring has shifted now to where these players they want low year deals and like upfront guaranteed money is kind of the big deal now.
I agree.
It's interesting. It's an interesting change in how teams and players spend their money. But
what do you think on it though, Jamie? Like, do you think that running backs should continue to demand more, or should they realize they need to take shorter term deals?
Man, I feel like that it just depends. Like I do think it's kind of getting out of control for running backs. Like if Delvin Cook if he was to sign a deal for $4 million a year, that seems insane since he broke open 2 games for us by running those big touchdowns. Like 4 million and you have that kind of impact on a game, that seems crazy. Like that's why I agree with them. Like it's easy to get another running back easier nowadays to find another running back that can do that. There's too many running backs that have that kind of potential. Maybe not Delvin Cook type of level, but so I don't know, man. If I'm a running back, I'm not letting it go. I don't want to get paid $4 million when I'm helping you win games the way I can.
But Delvin Cook's played one full healthy season though. That's
that too.
Caveat there. That comes down to investment time. Like,
that's fair. $4 million
and shoulder injuries. A lot of, and when you're a running back, it's a lot of shoulder stuff.
I mean, but how many players has a chance to just outright score a touchdown like he did in the Colts game? Not
around the league. Well, there's a good amount of running backs that could do that. There's.
No, I mean, kind of. I mean, if we looked, how many running backs have had a 50-yard touchdown last season?
That I'd have to look into. But Dave knows this from me talking to Rapp and last year. I'm not going to be the biggest supporter of Dalvin Cook. I think there's a lot more running backs than people realize that are like Tony Pollard went completely under the radar. No one was talking about Tony Pollard last year. Nobody.
That is true.
He was going in like the 10th to 12th round in fantasy. So it shows you how valuable he was considered through most football fans and experts. Like, and he had a fantastic season.
They had Zeke, and you think a split backfield would take yards away from him, but I think more people thought Pollard was the better talent.
And that's
honestly think that. I think people thought more about Pollard.
But exactly, that's true. That's also true. But because they gave Zeke that long-term extension, like I'm talking about, they were stuck having to play him, and Pollard got passed over until really he just took his job straight up, and they realized we have no choice.
Mm-hmm. I don't. It's tough.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation, I think. But there's I don't know what will happen. Either less people are gonna want to be running backs, or like you said, they're gonna have to learn how to catch the ball and run routes, and it's gonna have to be like a hybrid thing. If you're gonna want,
I don't think less people want to be running backs, because if you can't throw the ball and you can't catch the ball, what else are you going to do?
Well, then you have no option. I mean, that's also true.
Or like you're going to have to do
the fact that let's say you get drafted in the second round, you're a millionaire. You're a millionaire.
Yeah.
So
I think there's going to be some sort of drawback, though. Like from that,
there will be some that will turn to.
I don't know if it'll
corners. I agree. There will be players that will change positions.
There's always going to be something like that from a financial situation. Like being a running back was one of the outside of quarterback at one point was probably one of the most premier things you could possibly do. And everybody wanted to be one. That's pretty significant to now, where now it's like, you're going to probably want to be a wide receiver more than a running back. Yeah. You're going to practice catching more than just trying to break.
Well,
tackles.
It's like, why don't you become a baseball player? Because baseball players have these long ass, huge guaranteed contracts. Why? Because it's hard.
It is. Yeah.
It's hard to be one of the best baseball players.
I know, but
that ball sucks coming at you at 100 miles an hour. And in the NFL, can I be an NFL cornerback? That's a hard position to become a cornerback.
I agree.
300 pounds, I'm not going to become a wide receiver. But you're still going to have the running back going. Cornerback is hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if I could play that position. Let me be a running back.
What if you had less athletic players playing a running back? Because if there's someone who's a good football player, he's going to pick a different position.
He'll figure it out. Yeah, he'll spend the extra hours. I agree.
The best athletes probably are going to pull away from playing running back potentially in the future, but it could get to the point. All the way to where
it's a possibility. I don't think it's going to be to a grand extent.
No, I agree with that. But I'm just saying, maybe. Guys like Derrick Henry, it would not shock me in 7 to 10 years. Guys with that same frame are go from running back to playing linebacker, and because straight up, inside linebackers will make more money going forward than running backs. It's just the way it's going. because
I'd
defense.
rather
Barr.
play defense than
Anthony
play
Barr.
running back.
He was
Yeah.
running back in college.
Yeah, Anthony Barr made an absolute killing for
Definitely
money.
made more money playing linebacker than he probably would running back.
Yeah. And he could have even made more if he played outside linebacker. But like, I just want to add one last thing. I guess we probably should change the subject. I feel like we've been going about this for like 20 minutes. But I'm honestly shocked.
Biggest thing being talked about right now.
Mike hates running backs.
I
11.
I will say, if I was a GM, I would have that be a turnstile every 5 years. But anyway, it is what it is. Like, I'm surprised it took this long, though, for teams to catch on to this. Bill Belichick's been doing this for 15 years. He's been doing this for 15 years. When did Bill Belichick pay a running back? I remember he had Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, James White, LeGarrette Blunt. What was it? Jonas Gray. All these random guys.
He made the Gopher.
Sony Michel. He's had so many. So like it doesn't shock me whatsoever.
Well, and
that this is happening.
The last thing I'll say
doesn't
on it
shock
as well is like Jamie, I know you would ask like
what up, Greg?
What would it if like Delvin Cook and how explosive he is. I think though, if it does go to the point where like these athletic kids aren't playing running back, we've seen it time and time again. The NFL will adapt. If you don't have these these running backs where it's just like that they can hit a home run with a 50, 60-yard touchdown run, they're going to have to adapt to more short bursts of runs and more passing and that type. I
think that's why Darisaw switched from running back to left tackle. I think that's why he did that.
I think it's definitely.
Saw the future.
I think it's a possibility.
You don't think there's a chance, though, Dave, that there could be a bit of a shift?
That's how shifts work.
Well, I think
that
there are trends that happen.
And the NFL will adapt to it.
But the NFL will adapt to it.
If you see a really good running back, you're going to pay the guy. I think it's always been like this. I think there's been very few elite running backs in the modern era that got paid, and it's just fewer than previous years. I don't know. It just the game's changed. I think overall every position seems like, look how many, I was telling people, they complain about the Vikings always running back. How many players do we have from the 2019 playoff team? No,
that era is dead now. Under Kwesi, he completely killed that. Yeah.
I mean, from 2019 to 2021, how many players did we have from the 2018 team? It's like we had like 5 guys. I counted them, like 6 guys. I think we had from 2018 to 2020.
At least for me, I think the term "running it back" meant the star guys. At least that's how I always took it.
I just use that as a point. You think star guys is like we don't have Diggs. That was a star
that's his own fault though. That's kind of an outlier because he's still doing the same things in Buffalo.
Well, anyways, we didn't have. We had 6 guys from 2018 to 2021. I'm just making the point that there's turnover in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely. There is.
There's just turnover in the NFL. And it's you have a longevity of like 3 years, possibly, right? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, and there's turnover with everything when it comes to players, scheme-wise.
Yeah.
Even quarterback play, like
long snappers are crazy.
Yeah, because I see this, since you mentioned it, Casey, I have to mention it. The amount of people that have told me we need to move on from Kirk Cousins because he's not athletic, it's wild. And again, I'm not saying we should keep Kirk forever, but we should be considering it a little bit more than just saying, well, he can't run and let's move on. That's wild. That's wild. The amount of people I've heard that from. So is Justin Fields better than Kirk Cousins? No. Absolutely not.
He's only in his second year. Am I saying that Justin Fields can't be better than Kirk Cousins? No, he could. It's possible. He's only in his second year.
No, for sure. I'm just saying, like, Peyton Manning
come out of permanent retirement because he sucks and become better than Kirk Cousins. Sure.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that Kirk Cousins' ability not to be. It's not even the fact that it's not even about the running to me. It's more about him not being able to have the skill to scramble out of the pocket.
So like an Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. Mahomes.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yeah. That's what I see that point.
For me,
I see a difference between can't and doesn't.
Well, it doesn't matter because it has the same result for him.
I will say Dave does make a good point. We did stop doing the rollouts after 2019.
He can do bootlegs.
His
yeah.
superpower is rolling out to the
I
left.
think
he is.
but-
He's
but
good
when
at
you-
that. But I'm talking about when pressure
Like
is
a
coming
Kyler-
on and
yeah.
he's escaping the pocket and extended. He doesn't do that. He doesn't.
Well, and I think,
he's
and
not
if-
even
Well,
good
our
at it.
interior O-line doesn't help him, though. I do want to add that.
It
Like, our
does,
interior
but
O-line
it's bad,
stinks.
right?
It's
Have that
bad.
ability.
I'll just
But I mean,
I'll just
but I think
defer
but a
to
part of
my
it-
lawyer, Mike Castellino.
I don't want to. Other than, I mean, obviously that's another quarterback thing that's becoming really important in the NFL. I mean, how many quarterbacks are you seeing nowadays who have no ability to scramble out of the pocket and extend plays with their arms?
No, I get what you're saying. What bothers me though, and maybe it's nostalgia from when I was growing up. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Brett Favre were the main guys, and they were winning Super Bowls. And just for whatever reason, people want to move off of that. Like if there's another Peyton Manning, I'm going to trade the farm for that. I don't care that he can't run. That's just the way. Like if I could find Tom Brady right now, I don't give
and that's-
a crap
If
at
you
all that
know
he can't
for the
run. I don't care.
But
the thing with Brady though is it's not that he was not athletic. We saw he couldn't run, but he
No.
was just a master at manipulating the pocket and finding just the crease to step up. I mean, he had better offensive line than Mike.
That's what I'm saying, though. Kirk Cousins could do all of that, but Garrett Bradbury can't pass block, so he's got no
But
chance.
also- right, which is true. But also I think to Jamie's point, as we saw in the quarterback documentary, I think sometimes he gets too up here. And
Agreed. Absolutely.
And people said like when things go off track, like I feel like sometimes he has those games where it's like, damn, he's really looking like he's feeling the pocket pressure, moving around. And there's some other games you're just like, oh God, he panicked. Like
Yeah,
his,
which
I
we
feel
can
like
do
there is
that.
Agreed.
where his brain
It's
does.
funny.
No, but that's two
That's
separate
Patrick
things.
Patrick
brought
Mahomes
this
doesn't
up.
have those type of plays. You never. I mean, and again, I know we can't compare Patrick Mahomes. I know that, but like Patrick
No.
Mahomes and even Joe Burrow, like they never have those plays where you can tell like, oh, they just got lost completely. And
which
didn't
is
feel any
why
pressure.
Tom Brady.
But
is the
does
greatest.
everyone
Yeah.
here though?
Tom Brady
Does
is-
everyone here think that Jalen Hurts is 10 times better than Kirk Cousins? Because like his O-line matters, and he has an unblockable force. Like if you put Kirk Cousins behind that Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, they're not going to be bad. I promise you that. They will be a very good team. It would not shock me if Kirk threw for almost 5,000 yards in that offense. Like that's
Yeah.
how talented Kirk Cousins is. Like, and I'm not his biggest
I think
fan.
he could do that.
There's a time where like I've said this, he needs to win multiple 2 playoff wins probably, because you can only spin your wheels for so long. But that narrative that because he's not an athlete, we should move on. That's wild to me.
I
Just
wouldn't say
personally.
that. For me, I wish he had that skill set. I want my next quarterback to definitely have that. Me personally, I want them to have the ability to extend plays with their arms and avoid pressure. But it's the mental thing for me with Kirk Cousins. And just like
Agreed.
what Casey said, that's the thing that
But
gets
I
me the
wouldn't-
most.
So
because
this is the narrative I heard after what we watched, is that he gets down on himself. He's his own worst enemy. It's a detriment to him that he gets too down on himself. And then they use the examples. Look at that Buffalo game. Look at that Indianapolis game. Oh, I'm frustrated. And then went on to set the NFL record for comeback victory. And then he comes on and wins the game of the year against Buffalo despite all the injuries. He is more than capable of overcoming frustration and being down on himself.
he is, but
It's-
can he
and
do
I
that
will- we have
consistently?
tried they use those as examples of like he was that's some sort of fault. He is closer to Pat Mahomes in that area than he is to like a Marcus Mariota in that area.
To be the best in the NFL, you're talking about to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in the entire
You
world.
gotta be.
You have to do that. You can't have
Yes.
those moments. You got to in playoffs. You got to win all playoff games in the Super Bowl without that moment happening at all. I don't think Kirk Cousins, just because he's close to Mahomes, you have to have it all. If you're going to do that, I think you can't have these mental mishaps.
Mahomes looked frustrated when he hurt his ankle.
But he hurt his ankle, and then he's like, "I'm going to go down there and score twice as much."
Yes, and the thing with Cousins is this for me. I think he's extremely talented, but like you guys said, he gets in his own head really badly. Like the Eagles game, I think is the best example of it. He snowballs. When he's off, it's game over. Like when he's at a certain point of pressure, he just lets it escalate, and it's done. And that's not all his fault. Our O-line is not very good interior-wise, but at some point, you got to be able to realize you cannot make the same mistake over and over and over again. And he's done. And there's a reason why he struggles when he's up 7+ points,
What up, Dan?
he is in the low 20s or even early 30s in quarterbacks in passer rating when he's up. That's why he has so many 3-and-outs. He gets in his own head when he has a lead. That's why we don't blow teams out regularly. Cousins is part of that. Not last year, but there have been times where we're up 10 points with the ball and we 3-and-out, and then the team comes back. It has happened quite a few times in his era in Minnesota.
Well, you're picking out the Philadelphia Eagles game, right? As he snowballed. I was actually impressed with the fact that he didn't give up and he continued to throw the ball and didn't shut down, and he threw 2 more picks. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's a tough son of a bitch.
Mahomes,
he's tough. He's a warrior.
There's a game. I forget which game it was, but Mahomes is talking about, God, I'm having a bad game. Like, he throws 3 picks. They still win by freaking double digits. They still freaking won't win by double digits, which means his defense held the other team to like less than 15 points. And game. He throws 3 picks. He has a bad game. He's dwelling on it afterwards, but he didn't have to because the rest of his team picked him up.
No, I 100% agree. I agree that
if you nitpick on one guy, the other guy has had the same thing.
I get what you're saying.
He's had a better team, a Hall of Fame coach. We can nitpick all day.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, for example, like our defense has absolutely played a huge part in it. But I'm worried, even if our defense was a top 15 unit, I'm worried in games that matter. He won't sustain, because we always, at least I do, when he has a 3 to 4 game stretch where he's playing great football, it's coming where he's going to play bad. That's what bothers me about Kirk Cousins, is he won't sustain it for 3 straight months or 2 and a month and a half. It just doesn't happen. There's going to be a clunker in there. That's what bothers me.
And especially when you're in playoffs and you can't let that happen.
You got to go on a run. That's the way it is. Yep.
And not saying it's impossible for him to go through one of these. Obviously, it's not all on Kirk, but it matters. And when you see a guy like Tom Brady, who, is down in the Super Bowl to the Atlanta Falcons the way he is, and he's in the locker room thinking like, we're coming back, we're winning this, and he's serious. Like, there's only who knows, maybe it's an arrogance thing. I don't know what it is, but there's only probably a handful of people in the entire world that can have that kind of mindset.
Oh, I agree. 100%. So there's that leadership that's infectious. Agreed.
And you can't.
And he's playing in college right now, and we need to trade 3 draft picks to go get him. Is that that's
you talking about Caleb Williams?
I guess. I don't know, but anybody.
But you don't know. You're right. There's a chance that they don't have.
I'm not saying that.
What it takes.
By the way, I'm not saying you said that, Mike. I'm not saying you said that, Mike.
I was just saying. I wasn't sure because you were pointing at me. I wasn't sure
that somehow Kirk is not one of those top guys that overcomes adversity. It's like he doesn't have that mental ability to overcome that adversity.
Just not consistently.
And name me, 5 guys. Well,
I agree with you. It's
Josh Allen had a terrible playoff.
Oh, yeah. It's the vocal leadership that I'm talking about, though. That's why that stuff happens. He doesn't allow his team to grow around him because he's not vocal enough. And he's publicly talked about this. How on earth is he a 30-plus-year-old quarterback who is a top 10 quarterback in my mind, has a fantastic life, and can't just embrace being a little bit vocal? Is crazy to me. I don't get it. And he knows this. His dad told him this when he was going into high school, that he was not a vocal enough quarterback, and he never embraced that. It's a fake it till you make it type of thing. Even if it's somewhat fake, guys will grow around it, and you can make it a persona, even if it's somewhat on the fly.
I think people can sense fake and don't follow that. That's an example of a Ryan Leaf, a Rosen, just all these.
I'm not saying like his whole persona, but leadership, to try to lead, even if it is somewhat, you're afraid that you're going to sound a little bit like a geek or a nerd, because that's the thing I've heard in the past about Kirk. When he leads the huddle, people say, "Oh my God, he's so cringe." I really don't care. Do it 17 times and then 4 times in the playoffs, and then they'll have no point but to shut up, because there's nothing else they can say. If you lead us to a Super Bowl, Kirk, who cares what you sound like? The team is what matters, not the media.
I think we have a preference. Pat Mahomes, a preference. We thought, what a
of course
attitude. What a kick-ass attitude. But that's not for everybody. There's different types of leadership. You don't have to be Mr. Rah Rah. I don't think anybody looks at Kirk Cousins and said he's not a leader. Yes, I do actually think people think that, but I was used to, like, for instance, in high school, I had the all-state quarterback on my team. He was wanting to become a priest. He was the nicest, amazing guy you ever meet. He was Kirk Cousins, but lesser talent in South Dakota. But he had scholarships to like NC State. Decides to go to the local college, quits football, and becomes an engineer in 4 years. And now he's in a family life. He didn't go to the priesthood, but that was the guy. Everybody in our town would travel. All the 3 towns that for school. Traveled to go see, because he was the leader of our community at 18 years old, and he was like wanting to go into the priesthood. It doesn't have to be my preference. Like, I want to Pat Mahomes, but Kirk Cousins is, I'm just going to say it. I'm thinking just what I'm used to. When people call Kirk Cousins weird, I say that's who I grew up with. That's everybody on my block. That was my left tackle in high school. That was my right guard. That was my running back. That was my quarterback. They all acted like that. That's what I was used to. That's what I followed. And I think there's a lot of guys like that in the league.
Which I have no problem.
I'm not talking about. I think you got me maybe a little bit wrong on this. I don't mind that he's a geek and a little bit weird and nerdy, whatever. And he's a stats guy and he loves history. That's not what I mean. I don't care about that. Tim Tebow is very religious and is super nice guy, but he led from the front and players bought into it. That's all I'm saying. I just want him to be himself and lead vocally. That's all. That's all. I don't care that he maybe isn't putting on a front, whatever. That was just the first thing that came to my mind. If you had to fake it to make it happen, then do that.
I'm just wondering.
I just want him
who had a longer, more successful career.
Say that again.
You just compared him to Tebow, as Tebow was the leader that
he was. And he didn't have the talent. I agree. That's what ultimately got him out.
Career.
Yeah, he didn't have the talent.
Peyton Manning was a super nice guy, but he led the locker room. Eli Manning, same ththing. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying a leader has to be Tom Brady.
And they're both and Peyton Manning and Eli Manning are like two, especially Eli. You feel like, God, these guys are awkward, but yet they figured out how to do the leadership thing.
Exactly.
Also, like wasn't Tebow the guy who he had Tebow, of course, had the big old turn his hand behind him, wind up throw, which sucked.
Mm-hmm.
The left hand, yeah.
He would duck every time.
Yeah.
But he won a playoff game. He has as many playoff wins as Kirk Cousins. I hate to say it, but it's the truth.
See, I disagree with this. He's not an easy guy to follow. I disagree. I don't agree
with that either.
I think he's a really easy guy to follow, honestly.
I think
because he's down to earth, he's normal, and he's tough.
Yeah.
And I think people love that, I think, in a leader. But I do think it would be nice if he was a tad bit more vocal, which he's trying
Yes, that's what I mean.
But
Agreed.
Then he gets hyped up and his voice cracks, and then it's just no good for anybody.
And you got to stay confident. You got to stay confident. You, like Dave did say earlier, players are going to feed off that. You can't fake it. You can't do any of that stuff. You're going to feel if this guy is confident. If he 100% believes that he's going to go out there and help win this game, it's going to go to the other players as well. You can make, as a quarterback, you can make them believe. If you're not thinking that in your head, your players are going to notice that. And that's one thing we've seen it with Kirk Cousins. And I would say this past year was the best year I've seen of Kirk Cousins in this area. But there's no question, a history of his whole entire career is this falling in these bigger moments, or under the lights, these confident. It really will come down to his confidence.
Well, I think it's what Mike said. It's the, oh boy, when's it going to happen?
Yes.
When's he going to kick me in the nuts?
And the players are going to know that, because that does not happen with Tom Brady. It's the opposite.
No,
it does not happen with Patrick Mahomes. Maybe it does with Josh Allen.
With Tom Brady.
No.
How many games they win last year?
Dave, I was about to say this. I agree with what you're saying. No, I'm about to say this, Dave. Hold on. Just give me a second. I agree with where you're going with this for a second. The defense does need to help Kirk out more. I 100% agree. They never steal games for him. The Miami game was like one example that I could think of. It does not happen enough. but on this game in, game out basis, he needs to avoid having 4 or 5 clunkers in a season. Like it does happen. Like that Packers game, that was brutal.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah,
And that was to put us in a great spot for the second seed.
We fumbled at the 1 yard line and lost our 2 centers.
See, this is
that
the whole
game?
primetime thing is a very tired narrative.
It's Monday night. It's not primetime. It's specifically Monday night. He stinks.
Yeah,
but that's still like.
Didn't he just win his last 2 Monday night games? I know it was like.
What was his stat lines, Dave? But if you throw for 190 yards, it's not you playing well. That's the defense actually helping you.
We're talking about 1 year out of his 10-year career. Not to say it can't get better, but
I mean, I'm not
comparing
his mental in general prime narrative is.
It's fair that everyone's going to have
not the prime time. No, I agree.
But there's people who play better under the lights, and then there's people who play worse. And Kirk's one of the ones that play worse.
In particular, Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night, he's good. Go look at the stats. And I don't know what he does. He should change it. Maybe take the off day on Wednesday. I don't know what he needs to do on Monday Night Football, but for the love of God, he needs to work on that because it's terrible. And I'm terrified when we play the Niners Monday night. Like that could be bad. Like really, really bad.
Yeah. That's another thing with Josh Allen. We don't know if, I think Josh Allen has more talent.
Oh yeah,
Cousins, but that's why I think Josh Allen gets to where he is, and he's really young. But is there a chance Josh Allen crushes under pressure if he's in the Super Bowl? Maybe it's too much for him. I don't know. We don't know that for sure. There's a chance because they have tons of talent. Doesn't mean they have the mindset it takes to win a Super Bowl or continuously win a Super Bowl. Because we do see guys who might not. If you do have a really good team around you, that might not matter as much because we do see guys like Joe Flacco and those type of players win Super Bowl sometimes. But
Joe Flacco had the greatest month of his career.
Yeah, and he did. He stepped up like crazy.
Exactly.
Yes, and throw to, I think it was Jacoby Jones, one of the greatest passes I've ever seen.
Yeah, and a good example, another guy in our division, Goff, when his Super Bowl, when they made it to the Super Bowl, it was the opposite, man. His playoff were terrible. His Super Bowl, he had
and you can be carried. It happens.
How about
he was
Eli?
Carried to a Super Bowl. Eli's an interesting
both of his Super Bowl wins. He was both of his Super Bowl wins. He was the 7th seed?
6 seed the 1 year. Yeah. It couldn't be 7.
He was one of those guys. He was like a mediocre. He was a mediocre regular season. That's why I said if you took Peyton and Eli and combined them, you'd have the best quarterback ever. Because Peyton was amazing in the regular season. Playoffs, he was okay, wasn't great, and Eli was okay in the regular season and came up clutch in the playoffs. So
yeah.
I think that's a good meshing point there.
No, I agree, and that's what I'm saying. Kevin O'Connell says it himself: "Be at your best when your best is required." Sometimes that doesn't happen with Kirk Cousins, and it's okay to say that. I don't think that's a hot take to say. There are times he cracks under pressure. I don't think that's a hot take.
There's some people who are just going to call Kirk Cousins trash.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
There's some people who think Kirk Cousins is the best, but I think the real division comes. The difference is I think he's a good quarterback. He has the skill set, even without his running, even though if I want running, I think he has what it takes from a talent wise to be a Super Bowl quarterback. I'm not convinced he has what it takes from a mental side to be it unless everything around him is almost he has a good defense and great wide receiver, great offense, whatever.
Like the conversation at the end of the day really comes down to basically there's two sides of this fan base. There's a few sides of this fan base, but the two main sides are like, we're not going to be able to do much better. So let's stick with what we got and build the team around him and go. And the other side's like, we've seen what we can have. We need to build towards the future. And those are the two paths. And that's where the divide is. There's some people.
That's the problem. Yeah.
But you got it. But most people are here. And that's where all these arguments start. And like the people in the chat that are saying, oh, we're going to stop watching because I don't agree with the excuses being made, or I'm not going to do this because you guys are crashing on him. I don't want to see it. You got to be able to handle it. Like if you're gonna leave because someone has a different opinion than you, so be it. But come on.
Can't.
If you're gonna dish it out in the comment section, you got to be able to handle it.
At the end of the day, that's still our quarterback.
Or the other people in the comment section.
That's the most important position on our Vikings team. It's going to be talked about.
Exactly.
The Kirk Crusader stuff is wild.
And he's a polarizing figure from a playing perspective and just from a personal perspective. Like
I've never understood this.
I'm pulling this up. I haven't even been looking at the chat, but when Kirk won a Big Ten title, I don't care. It's just silly. He went from not being a big time quarterback in college to being the 7th guy in the Michigan State to be in the 4th round pick, overcoming a 1st round guy bonus baby,
RG3. Yeah.
To have to about being close to setting the Minnesota Vikings passing records in 6 years. I mean, this is, it's a little silly to say he's never won and never. Well, a lot of
No, I hate that narrative. I hate it. I agree.
But you got to remember, Mateo's not a big Michigan State guy either.
I know Mateo. I talk to him all the time, and I love Mateo. Great guy. But me and him will never see eye to eye on Kirk Cousins for the most part. We have moments where we agree, but he's more negative on him than I am, for sure. And like I said, I'll never understand why people want to just bash the guy. Like in general, it's not his fault that he got a fully guaranteed contract from the Vikings.
Well, I don't blame him.
It's not his fault.
He's not the first player to ever get a 3-year guaranteed contract.
I mean, I don't blame him. I would do that.
No, and it's not his fault that he got an extension.
5 years, they had 3 years guaranteed. He just chose to get 3 years instead of 5 years.
Yeah.
Of fluff when he got 3 years. So I don't know.
My thing with Cousins is simple as this: you got to win 2 playoff games because we brought you in here. People could agree or disagree, whatever. That's fine. We brought him in to be the missing piece to the puzzle. We brought him in to win in the postseason. It hasn't happened. Is it all his fault? Absolutely not. But has he played a part in it? Sure he has, for sure. So at the end of the day, 2 playoff wins, or at the end of the day, you've got to say, okay, we're spinning our wheels, so here, we got to move on. It's just the way it is.
What up, Dylan? Yeah, so anyways, we'll go away from Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, obviously, we all know how we all feel about him because we can talk about it all day. So we'll answer this question right here. Because actually, I'm going to circle, after this question, I'm going to circle all the way back to Casey to see what he's most excited about going into training.
Oh, did he never answer that?
No. Hey, guys, I'm worried about the linebackers. So are we talking about outside linebackers, the whole thing? I'm assuming most people.
It might be both.
I would
like
say more.
Now that we're 3-4, we kind of lump all the linebackers in together, and like I never think of Danielle Hunter as a linebacker. You know,
I don't me neither. I can't think of.
I don't think of those guys want them as linebackers.
Robert Davenport's another outside linebacker.
Yeah.
I would say they're talking more middle
linebacker. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes,
inside. Yeah, inside linebacker.
I'm very concerned for. I mean, I think Brian Asamoah is going to be a really good football player, but outside of him, I mean, Jordan Hicks. Say what you will about Jordan Hicks. The only reason he's back, and I said this when he agreed to the pay cut, I'm like, I'm okay with it because we need a veteran presence there.
Agreed.
Who's going to be cheaper, and he's that guy. Is he great? Is he flashy? He is not any of those things. He is not. I wouldn't even call him solid, but he's a veteran player who understands the game, and he's a good leader. And I that's why he's still here. But outside of that, Ivan Pace, if he can perform, you have Troy Dye. Who else is there? There's one more guy. I think William Kwenku, who I know Kevin O'Connor is high on. But yeah, I just I don't know. It's I'm personally very concerned about the middle linebackers. I mean, I think that's fair. But I mean, you can look at this entire defense and be concerned and just cross your fingers that Flores is gonna help things.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if we limit our linebacker usage with blitzes. Like Jay Ward screams like a guy that's going to be all over the field at multiple different positions. Seen as well, they're going to use him as blitzing. So I honestly could see times where they only have one linebacker out there, inside linebacker and Asamoah. Yeah.
And we all feel pretty good about Asamoah, but again, it is fair. Like, you don't know for sure. We haven't seen him. We've only seen bits and pieces of him, which we like what we've seen. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. But I do think with Flores, I think that's what's going to have to happen. I think you're going to see more of those packages where you might see it. Hopefully, we hope Jay Ward, because we like his potential too, but see him more in there, seen and do like the 3 safety thing and nickel guy, whatever. So that would be nice. But yeah, again with what's his name? Jordan Hicks. It is important to have a veteran guy in there with all these young guys. I do see that, but hopefully we're not seeing him on the field too much.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I would agree.
So, I mean, it's not my least worried position for sure. I'm still holding strong that the defensive line is, I think, is our weakest position.
I would agree as well.
Even over secondary. Wow. I don't know. I think corner is worse.
I think corner is scary. It's more up in the air.
They're very tied together to me because as we saw last year with the way Donatel wanted to play defense, you needed a good pass rush, and we didn't have it from any angle. Like Zadarius Smith did what
that
he
was a
could.
big problem.
Zadarius Smith was amazing the first half of the season. Daniil Hunter was solid. But like in the middle, as Jamie said, you didn't have any like disruptive people on the inside, and I still feel like we don't. Maybe
I agree with that.
Donatil was
they're
was
definitely
misusing
tied
every
together.
defensive back except for Peterson.
But like the plan was definitely to get pressure on the quarterback, and that's why the corners played the cushion is the only way it works, and we just couldn't do it, and we couldn't the corners couldn't get tight because let's be honest, we had Patrick Peterson who was aging, and a bunch of young guys who weren't really experienced in that defense yet. So I don't know. I think they're kind of the defensive line / pass rushers and corners are all kind of tied together.
The thing is if the defensive line is not good, that's not good for our secondary. Our secondary is going to have a lot easier time with a better defensive line, obviously, because they can't.
Well, and blitzing helps. I agree. Yeah.
And especially interior too, where you can cover without, it doesn't need to be a blitz. You can rely on your defensive lineman potentially getting to the quarterback without it having to be a blitz and have more guys out covering.
Oh, if you have a good line. Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't, line. No, I know what you're saying. If we had the Niners or the Eagles line.
Secondary does, but I think it really does if we just need between Booth, Blackman, and Evans, we need one of them to be able to step up and be a reliable cornerback. And we have 3 guys with potential. So that's the reason why I don't feel that way as much with cornerbacks. Because if one of those guys can step up and be a real starter, our secondary is not looking too bad anymore. With Murphy on the other side, with what our safety room looks like, which is pretty strong right now, I'd say. But I do not feel like we have that same talent on our defensive line. I think Harrison Phillips is the only for sure talent, and he's above average, slightly above average at best. Last year, he had a terrible.
So by defensive line, you're talking about the interior exclusively?
Interior exclusively, yeah. Which is pretty much, I'm talking
D tackles,
interior, D tackles, not defensive ends, obviously, because we're like.
See, that's why I put them in. That's why. See, when that's why.
If we are sorry, I'll just say this one thing.
Sure.
When I'm thinking of our defense as a 3-4, I'm thinking the 3 interior linemen.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The 3 interior linemen. But with Flores here, there's a good chance that he's putting Hunter's hand in the dirt a majority of the plays or whatever, and then that won't be as a big of an issue. If that is his plan, I would feel way better about the defensive line if you see Daniil Hunter at one of the edges a majority of the time and not playing the position he played last year.
My guess it's like 90% rather than 55%.
Exactly. So that's what I'd feel way better if that was the point. It's the idea of the peer. These are the 3 guys in the line and we have 4 guys in the linebacker area.
So if I could touch on the defensive line thing,
I'm
actually maybe a little bit more high on them. I think Kandris Tonga is underrated.
That's
think
fair. And he
as a starter, he could be really good. I'll be honest, I'm not the highest on Jonathan Bullard. I'm glad they brought him back because you need a veteran in the room, aside from Harrison Phillips, but I don't want him starting. Jaquelin Roy, though, intrigues me. If he can break out and be one of the stars of this draft class and actually be a relevant defensive pick, which we have not had enough in this team for many, many years, I think the defensive line can be okay. For me, the bigger issue is keeping Daniil Hunter. You lose him, man, you're asking for trouble on the defense side of the ball.
Yeah, I think so too. Because you don't have a for sure guy that can get to the quarterback. And that type of thing. And I agree. I mean, I have high hopes for Jaquelin Roy and Tonga. I do, but at the same time, like we had Delvin Tomlinson, who is a for sure better player than any of the. There's a chance those guys could maybe
as of now, as of now.
But even with Delvin Tomlinson, we struggled in that area. Now we just don't have him, so we're banking that we hope Tonga is, which we've seen good things from him last season. But Jaquelin Roy has potential, but obviously he's a rookie. It's high expectations out of him for that. So I think I feel a little bit better. I feel more confident that we pull one of these guys out of Andrew Booth Blackman and Mekhi Blackman and Evans. I think there's a better chance one of those guys comes in and ends up being a good starter even though they play a harder position.
All those guys are man cover
Yeah,
guys
in comparison to
college.
Tonga or Roy. I think those guys might be more talented. One of those guys could be more talented than what we see in a Roy or Tonga. Or
I
maybe
also
not. I mean, based off of where they were picked in drafts and stuff like that is kind of what I'm mostly going off of, because we didn't get enough. We didn't see enough. They haven't proven enough to believe that. But
no, I agree. I also do want to give a shout out though to Azazie Tomowo. He came out in the interior
I'm
defensive line as
interested in
well.
that. I'm
Yeah.
interested in that, him playing
Sky
DN
Umar
on
wrote
the
the boat,
3-4.
go Gophers.
Yeah. Because that was his position. He was kind of a one-trick pony in pass rush in college. He had like one move, but it was a really good one.
What
But
up,
I
Grand
think
Desire?
I think that was what he was. Why we drafted him, because we're going to 3-4 and we need a 3-4 defensive end.
And he's
So
a
I'll be
gopher.
interested to see if he could jump forward and.
that's a
play
good
that.
point too. So there's so much potential. That's why with Flores and all this, like a lot of people, specifically the boy right here, Greg, is extremely worried about our defense. But I do think we have enough potential talent on there, and you mix that with Flores. I do think we're going to see a massively improved defense compared to last year. Mostly
It can't be worse.
but it just can't get worse. At least, that's what we say. That's what we say. But I just think, and we're worried about the 4-3 thing. Again, I don't think we're going to see a traditional 3-4 defense with Flores in there. So
Yes.
I think he's going to be.
He'll adjust.
But he said,
He
depending
says
on the opponent,
yeah.
we're going to change the game plan, which, mind you, I don't think Ed Donato had one thought about that, which is just wild as a defensive coordinator.
I don't think Ed
They look
Donato
the
once
same
thought about,
every
game
damn
planning,
day.
honestly. I don't think Donato wanted a game plan for anything. I think he's gonna put the same defense out there every week.
Yeah, he's just going to do
I'll never forget that quote. You're gonna be surprised. Oh, we were surprised, all right, with Daniel Jones did, but not in the right way.
Like
You're
when,
like
the
me,
defensive,
Casey.
when the defensive
Yeah, that
coordinator
one too. Yeah.
when the defensive coordinator has to come out and say, I let the players really take control of things this week. Oh, so you're deflecting blame going into the
Yes.
playoffs. Great work.
Yeah.
Man. Great work.
Yep.
Donatello. At least there's one thing we all
That's
can
so
agree
bad,
on.
man.
Yeah,
The thing
Donatello's
about it
nuts.
is, like, you're playing this,
and you feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, like, brother, get good at your job.
Yeah, like at least you have to. I don't know, with his system.
Hey,
we
I
need to
love that
get
retirement
we need to
fund,
get to the
too.
Quarterback. So I don't know. So I just think, hopefully our defense is better. We're banking a lot on Flores. That's why, like, probably the most important thing for our entire season. And we're talking about the training camp stuff, and we'll get to Casey's thing he's excited about. But that's one thing with Flores is, man, he's kind of feels like the make or break person for our season, because we're relying on him big time by himself to come here and change our defensive around, which we also know is going to be vital for us to have any chance at going for a Super Bowl run. So a lot of this is on his shoulders, and going into training camp, obviously it's going to be extremely important to see how that works. So, I mean, we're going to be paying attention to that, and hopefully we do see him putting guys in position to be their best. That's what we really need out of him. All right, Casey, what are you excited to see in
Well,
training
of course. So we brought up mine is going to rope Kirk back into this just a little bit. Imagine me, of all people, the guy that's going to bring Kirk Cousins back up after a 25, 30-minute conversation about him.
I think it was 40.
But
It may have been.
Though, it comes to the entire offense, lump in the coach as well. And I know David kind of mentioned, like, seeing how the offense works this year. I'm excited to see this offense in the second season under Kevin O'Connell, adding more pieces. And I think it's on both sides. The players, like, cause even in the quarterback documentary, Kirk Cousins had said, like, even week 2, it's like we still weren't, like, we were still trying to figure out, like, the wording of the offense, and, like, we're still trying to figure out the offense. Now it's been a year in. As for Kirk and the rest of the offense, Justin Jefferson, offensive line, which is a big concern, especially after watching that documentary. But I'm excited to see how the players grow within the system. And also how Kevin O'Connell grows as a play caller. Let's be honest, this offense was pretty solid last year, right? It was fun to watch. But the second and third quarter were almost unexcusable. Every game, it was the same thing. We'd flash to start, we'd dip in the middle, and we'd find a way to come through at the end. Yeah. And his play calling came through at the last 2 plays of the playoff game. Like, say what you will about what Kirk Cousins did. The play calls on 3rd and 8 and 4th and 8 were not good ones at all. So I just think Kevin O'Connell has room to grow as a play caller. And I think after his first season, he's going to do that. So I'm just excited to see basically how these two parts of this, the coaching and the players in the second year of the system, are going to mesh, and how this offense is going to take that next step, plus with some added pieces. Now, like I said, the offensive line, continuity is good, but our offensive line just doesn't have the right pieces on it for this type of offense, I don't think. Tackles, set. When it comes to interior, Ingram could be, because he was solid at pass blocking in college. He was rough to start last year, but we'll see. But Bradbury, and if you're going to keep Ezra Cleveland at left guard, they're definitely more made for a Mike Zimmer type of offense, a more athletic running game type offense, because they're not big anchor guys who can hunker down in a pass-heavy offense. So either way, though, you have continuity, and I'm excited to see how that's going to go. That's what I'm most looking forward to in training camp, watching just to see how they grow at the practices and how it eventually translates into games.
Casey, those were better play calls than the previous series. When he threw behind the line, when we threw behind the line of the scrimmage twice.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's just overall they weren't.
I'm just making a point. Like,
there
was lots of crap that happened.
I'm still not over when they threw a pass to Kirk Cousins in a playoff game and thought that was a good idea.
He should have called. I mean,
but that
like
was
my God.
Like he decided not to change the play after they didn't get the first down, which I'm like, dude, come on, man. Really?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I brought this up with last night. It was like, there was that Buffalo game where Kirk called his own number on the quarterback sneak after Dalvin Cook fell in his ass. And I'm like, I was like, this is where KOC with the play calling you're talking about. Like, how many freaking tight end screens that we did. It was just ridiculous. But that play, he goes to Kirk. He says, I was going to call timeout. Then why didn't you? That's what I was thinking. I was going to call timeout. Well, why didn't you?
You're the head coach.
Well, because he wanted to wait for the alignment. I think. Generally, I'm not even trying to defend him and bash Kirk. That's not what I'm trying to do. A lot of coaches wait till the last second to actually see what the lineups, the alignment's looking like on the other side, so they know what they're ready for.
You're saying he waits to call the play until we're at the line of scrimmage about to hike it?
Yeah. Buffalo does it all the time.
Yeah.
Buffalo does it all the time.
It makes sense because you can see what their defense is lining up.
So you know what they're going to do
at the goal line.
So then you have a chance to
at the goal line.
Make a play.
Right.
I get what you're saying. We couldn't run the ball. I can't blame KOC for
timeout. Why didn't you? That was my thought process.
No, that's what I'm saying. He wanted to see the alignment.
I don't think he was expecting Kirk to go rogue and just call it.
No, you can't.
I want to know what happened there. What happened there? Was the headphones out? What was going on?
He definitely probably couldn't hear him. He probably couldn't hear him.
Not to call timeout, even though you said you were going to.
Kirk had selective hearing. He's like, no. Well, let's just punch this one in.
Let's just punch this one in.
That's what I want. See,
in Buffalo, it is loud, though. I can say from personal experience.
Let him do it. Let him do it.
I chalked it up. I chalked up that play call, and I chalked up that play to a first-year head coach. I'm excited that he's going to grow from this.
Yeah,
exactly. He's going to get it gets easier, right? And I think we were kind of you brought this up, Casey. Excited the second year. We were struggling even knowing the offense in the first half of the season. And we won 13 games with that terrible defense. How did that happen, right?
Turnovers.
Imagine.
Timely turnover.
We weren't
That's all they did. If they couldn't turn the ball over, they were terrible. That's the only thing that didn't make them 32nd was they caused turnovers. That's it.
So anyways, we were like +5 on the year. I don't know. I think it might have went down. I don't even think we ended up +5. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that we didn't even know the offense. And we came out, and I think I gave us a little too false hope when we came out and just looked like everything was working against the Packers, and then Philly hit.
Yeah,
and we're like,
no, I agree.
What's going on?
I do want
just to see it the second year in advancing and knowing all the play calls. You're not thinking about what something is. Like there was that play where we scored a touchdown, and he says, and it was our tight end, and he goes, "Why whatever." Because he was supposed to call the route and he didn't remember what the route was. So he said, why, whatever. And he threw it to him. That's where we were last year.
Oh, Munt. The throw to Munt.
Yeah. The throw to Munt. And we didn't know,
Yeah.
No, this is one other thing I want to talk about when we're talking about the coaching and Kirk Cousins' relationship. One thing that drove me nuts, at least for me, I can't speak for any of you guys. The 2 times Kirk went rogue last season, it bit us in the butt really bad. It was the 4th and goal in Buffalo. He gets stopped. And then it was the sneak against the Giants. And I forgot about this. Repressed memory is a wonderful thing. Thank you, Netflix, for reminding me of this. Kirk Cousins snaps the ball earlier when the plan was to snap it at 1 second. Darrisaw moves early because of it, and then we end up kicking a field goal. Like, that's the mental stuff that I talk about. And one other thing that drove me nuts from the Netflix series, Kirk Cousins, how dare you say Greg Joseph's going to miss a 30-yard field goal after coming back 33
That's not
points?
how I took it at all.
Bro, like, what kind of what kind of leader does that? Think that. Don't say it. Don't say that.
My boy Greg Joseph.
Mike, he was talking about, I should have got us down closer. That's the way I took that.
But it's a 30-yard field goal. Greg Joseph or Blair Walsh was the 23-yarder.
He was hard. He was,
but Greg Joseph.
You were thinking he was thinking Joseph's gonna miss this.
Yes.
I was thinking.
Yes.
Dude. Yeah, I took it as we should have got down closer. That's the way I took it. You thinking Kirk was on the sideline going, yeah, Greg Joseph's.
Didn't he say he's gonna miss? I thought that was the quote. He's gonna miss.
This is too long of a kick. I mean,
what is that referring to though?
He was just nervous, but. I think he was just nervous. I didn't think it was either.
He was going up and down the sidelines telling everybody, it's too long.
No, I'm not saying that, but why does he even say that though?
Hey,
he's got a microphone.
I agree with Mike where it's like, why you guys you shouldn't think that. You should just think you're winning.
I've heard quarterbacks religiously when they're mic'd up, he's going to make it. I believe. Even if he misses, that's what you need to say, not the opposite.
I don't want any doubt. I don't want my quarterbacks to have an ounce of doubt. Ever.
It was just being hard on himself for not
Greg Joseph is a 61-yard field goal. As much as I've criticized him, the man is clutch. My God.
Thank you. Greg Joseph, go. Greatest kicker of all time. Let's go.
I still have my doubts. 1 year proposition every year, but aside from that, we're good.
Can you imagine if we played every single down the entire year instead of compacting it into 15 minutes an episode? We would hear a lot of things.
Do you guys think Tom Brady ever said that to Adam Vinatieri, though? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Tom Brady in the snow.
Go to Greg Joseph and say, "Oh, you're going to miss 40." You're going
to miss on the sideline. I don't think Tom Brady in the ice game against the Raiders went. I think I didn't get him close enough in the snow, and that was in the snow.
Mike, can you at least agree? And I've actually met Adam Vinatieri, great guy. We had class together. A very confident dude.
I believe it.
Can you at least admit that he wasn't thinking that he was being hard on himself because he didn't get down there? You feel like it's the other way. Hey, Greg Joseph's going to miss this. That's what you're thinking.
Yes.
You're thinking Greg Joseph. Okay, yeah, it's fine.
That's my honest to God opinion.
That's the kind of guy he is. He
overthinks a lot of things. I think
he was just being hard on himself for getting down there.
Okay,
I think it's both, but I think
you're the first person I heard have that take that he was thinking we were going to miss it. I thought personally that he thought he didn't get it close enough. Like we should have got more yards. Hey, I left something on the table.
You guys are both. I think you guys are both correct, Dave. I believe that is what he meant. But to Mike's point, don't.
Why are you even saying that?
Like, why are you even thinking? Don't even think doubt thoughts.
Like if you
only
say
think that you're gonna win every time.
Like that's what you got. You say we got to go down there and score. I wouldn't say like
it's the lack of the killer instinct. I'm sorry, it is. It's the lack of the killer instinct.
I see Mike's point on that.
I'm sorry.
I don't
feel
think
like
Tom
we have
Brady
the shortest memory of any.
Joe Burrow doesn't do that. I've watched Joe Burrow play. He's like, we're gonna go and we're gonna dominate.
You had a mic on him the whole time, and I know.
In the Super Bowl, he was saying hi to Aaron Donald like he's his best friend from college. Like that. It's just something.
If we only could have Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow. If only Kirk Cousins would smoke cigars and have hot girlfriends.
That has nothing to do with that. You're putting words in my mouth. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying. It's the mentality. He doesn't have a killer instinct.
I think it would help.
No, I think. By the way, Kirk Cousins' wife.
Yeah, we have the shortest memory, man. Most people are coming off a high.
Julie's a wonderful human being, by the way. Since we're talking about that, Julie's a wonderful person.
I like
impressed. Most people are coming out of that show overly impressed.
Oh yeah,
how he overcome those injuries that we did not know.
He's tough. But this is the thing, Dave. I've never questioned his toughness. You can go back and watch videos from me anytime last season. I say he's a warrior all the time. I get mad that no one talked about when he had broken ribs and played through it in the 2021 season. And no one talked about it. If that was Aaron Rodgers, it would have been talked about every week. That damn turf toe. That turf toe. That drove me nuts.
I guess, I'm not putting your words in your mouth. It is not luck, and it's not a lack of a killer instinct that got us 11 wins last year with 1 score and 8 come from behind victories. That was not a quarterback with lack of a killer instinct. Sorry. I will take the proof I visually saw over the opinion of a preference.
See, Jamie,
I don't see it.
Circle back to me for my opinions. I bring up Kirk Cousins.
But that's on Casey. Casey brought up Kirk Cousins.
No, I just like in overtime, for example. How many times in overtime over the years, aside from like that New Orleans game, and that was the greatest Kirk Cousins performance of all time. I'll say it. That game against New Orleans, most clutch performance of his career. We haven't had enough of it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's opinion I agree with.
Leads the league in comeback victories the last
1 year though, 1 season though.
Actually, now 4 years actually total.
That he led comeback, yeah, because he's always behind.
He was tied. It's because it's always he's always.
When how many? No, but like I said, his passer rating is near the bottom when he's leading.
The guy that leads the entire career is Tom Brady.
Tom Brady played way more games, Dave. Tom Brady played till he's 45 years old. Of course, he's going to have the most comebacks.
Tom Brady was married to Giselle.
No, that's the headline we should all be talking about.
Yeah, that's what.
And divorced by the end. And divorced by the end. His career lost.
Now he's with Kim K.
That he folds under pressure.
Dave, you honestly think he has the same killer instinct as Joe Burrow?
No, I don't. But
that's what I'm saying. He lacks the killer instinct of the elite quarterbacks.
Well, you have to put him the standards of the elite quarterbacks.
I don't think he has the killer instinct.
I don't think so.
Of honest to God, Josh Allen. I don't think it's close. Trevor Lawrence is ahead of him for that.
You're talking about the guy he beat that fumbled in his own end zone. Yeah, that's who you're comparing him to.
One game, Dave. One game.
But yeah, you could.
We can talk about this.
Playoff games. He didn't play well in the 2 playoff.
Josh Allen had a 4-touchdown game in the playoffs. When has Kirk Cousins done that? Not once. He's never had a 4-touchdown game.
That's your thing. One game.
He had 4 touchdowns in a playoff game. He's had and he's won like 4 or 5 playoff games.
What was that game? Pat Mahomes threw 11 yards in the second half. Lack of a killer instinct. There's the proof.
You can have one-offs. There's circumstances. Tennessee.
I don't know how we came off of this last season and just wiped out the fact that what we were able to accomplish, and say it was in not think.
Is Cameron Dancer ripping the ball out of ISM's hands Kirk Cousins' responsibility? Is Patrick Peterson catching an interception in the end zone in Buffalo Kirk Cousins?
Does not play defense. He's number 8.
That's what I'm saying. Those were 2 plays that had nothing to do with Kirk Cousins.
And we
were going to lose those football games.
We were?
Kirk?
Yes. If Patrick Peterson does not intercept Josh Allen, we were losing that game in Buffalo. We were lucky.
We were going to lose that Bears game because Kirk's lack of a killer instinct because of a defensive player made a play.
That was anyway. That was again. Kirk Cousins set an NFL record, and it still came down to the last drive.
All right. We're gonna go off of Kirk Cousins here. We're gonna go.
Sure.
That's the thing that bothers me.
Reality is the final verdict.
The Twins can't fall into one playoff win in 19 tries. Ridiculous.
What
did you say, Casey?
I said it's ridiculous. Yeah, the Vikings have all these wins. They luck out. They were.
It was completely luck.
Why can't the Twins get a lucky win and win one fucking playoff game since 2002 or whatever the hell it was? Frustrating. But anyway.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, we'll see. And we'll see.
The Vikings have always lost to the Vikings have always lost to Bears backups.
It's not an exclusive thing. No,
it's not exclusive.
It's not, unfortunately.
Let's just agree Kirk sucks.
No,
so we'll see. I'm hoping
I'm
that
not ready to go down that road.
Hopefully Kirk can step up this year. Regardless, he's going.
See, that's what I get mad at. It's either he stinks or he's great. There's no in between. That's where I get annoyed.
And the reality is, there's a massive in between.
If you're in between, then people call you someone.
That's me. I'll say it. I'm in between. I'm not afraid to admit that.
That's the thing. But then we get called like, oh, so you guys are just okay with this team being just okay for the rest? Okay, you're a typical Minnesota fan. I get it. It's like
I'm not okay with that. No. That's why.
Settle down.
Yeah. Anyways, so get Cooper Rush.
Absolutely not.
Cooper Rush. No. He's saying Cooper Rush beat us. Is what he's trying to say.
Yes, he did.
Obviously, a lot of this game comes down to a lot of things other than your quarterback.
It's the ultimate.
Agreed.
It is
100%.
The ultimate team
no, Jamie,
sport.
Gotta be perfect. right?
It
You
is,
said
But
that earlier.
obviously, no
Football is the
quarterbacks,
ultimate
even Tom
team.
Brady,
Why they say that.
Tom Brady isn't perfect. He has had bad games. It is part of it, though. He usually does step up when the game's on the line in the most important games of his career, whatever, playoff games, whatever. That's the big difference between a lot of these quarterbacks.
Any other goats you want to put out there as the standard?
Kirk Cousins is the GOAT mentally. But Kirk Cousins, I mean, we want to bring out elite quarterbacks. I mean, of course.
I criticize Lamar Jackson all the time, Dave, by the way. I criticize him all the time for the same type of things. And Ravens fans lose it on me on Twitter all the time. Just so we're clear, this is not a Kirk Cousins hate thing. I like Kirk Cousins a lot. He's the best quarterback I've watched on this team for a long period of time.
So
before this Kirk
calling someone weird or calling someone a geek or whatever, and the narrative of him not being having a killer instinct, yet we had like the 2 NFL records set as far as winning those close games. Set, it's not an accident. It's just not an accident.
Yeah, but we didn't go anywhere in
throwing the
playoffs.
effect. And I know this is an excuse,
and that's not Kurt's fault. The playoff game.
So,
well, besides the last
11 victories, the 8 come from behind, both NFL records.
Yo, agreed. That's what I said.
I don't know why you guys are both. Is this not working?
I'm done. Go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
Right. Was this not working? 11 one-score games. 8 come. Those were NFL records. Throw in the fact that we had the worst defense. I've ranked it the worst defense I've ever seen the Vikings ever had.
I agree.
I rank it worse than the year before, and that's the one I ranked the worst until then. We actually increased that. It is not an accident. Kirk didn't just stumble into an accident. He doesn't have a killer instinct. He doesn't. He can't overcome his mental issues. He can't do this. That is just, that's where I come in and say, then there's the haters. I can understand. They just really hate him. I get it. They don't like him as a person.
It's ridiculous.
No, honestly, I'll throw that out the window. It's the false narrative that drives me nuts. Like Kirk can't win the big game. What was the Buffalo game? What was the?
That's not the big game. That's a regular season game. He had for someone to be able to come back that often.
We have a better defense. We beat the
Giants. That's playoff 1 against probably the worst team in playoffs was the Giants.
I actually kind of agree with that take. I'm not gonna lie.
And I think, and that's the thing that's the thing for me. It's like, all right, we've seen all these comebacks in the regular season, but then he makes that throw against the Giants. Like you can easily argue that he doesn't have a killer just because he's won us a regular season game and has these comebacks. It doesn't automatically
and that quote and that quote that he said on Bussin' on the Boys, the Barstool Sports podcast. Yeah. I couldn't throw it at JJ. That would be irresponsible. What are you talking about? So throwing it 3 yards is less irresponsible? No, it's not. That's more irresponsible.
People compare this to the Buffalo game at 4th and 18. Justin Jefferson, he threw it up to him and went and got it. They are not the same play. 4th and 18, he had all the time. He had like a bubble around him. He had all the time to throw it.
Correct.
Justin Jefferson is already broke on his route. When we watched that play, in New York against New York, Justin Jefferson is like 5 yards down the line, 5 yards up the field, 10 yards up the field, not looking back, and he's got a guy about to hit him. They were completely different plays. He has pressure. Justin Jefferson's not looking. I don't find that an unreasonable expectation that I'm not going to throw the ball to a guy not looking that's about to be double covered. I don't know. I'm not going to throw his season away or the game he played away because of one play. I can't do it.
But I don't disagree with that.
It's Kirk's past.
Yes, you do. You disagree with that.
No, it's Kirk's.
When do I disagree? I said that he played a great game against the Giants. That throw though, you can't make that throw, Dave. I'm sorry, you can't. You can't throw it 3 yards with the season on line. You can't.
I have a tweet that says he screwed up. I thought he should have.
So that's all I'm saying.
I thought he should have tried to make room for himself. He should have moved over to the right, anticipated. I don't think he expected Cook to trip.
Agreed, and I blame Delvin Cook for that. I'm just saying, you can't throw it 3 yards, even if it's not going to work. Just throw it past the sticks.
If a guy has not. Kirk Cousins has had opportunities to go further into playoffs. That's an example. That was an opportunity for him to get a first down in that play, and he didn't in playoffs. to me, and that's been like a thing with his whole career. Like this isn't a new thing. This last season was a new thing with him. How often he's come back, those great comebacks. It is true, but even I said this way before. I said this before any of those comebacks, and even right after the comebacks, before the Giants throw. That even with all those comebacks, it was not enough to convince me, and that's because of the things I've seen from him in the past. And
the team wasn't sustainable. I knew it was going to be. And a magic carpet ride that was going to fall short regardless at some point.
Wasn't on Kirk Cousins, but I'm going to have a hard time saying he does have a killer instinct when that's how the last play of the season went. Like you can say it's hard to say.
To put the game on him, I don't like, but I agree with that.
Dave, do you say Kirk Cousins has a killer instinct? Is that what do you think he has the killer instinct it takes to win a championship?
Sure.
I think he can win a title, by the way. I do.
I think it's possible.
Go ahead, Casey. Go ahead.
Okay. I got
No. I'm just kidding.
Kind of like a culmination of all this stuff. So like, I consider myself somebody who's I want to say I'm fair. I'm very like situational. I judge things situationally, and I do like to let things have like time to stew before I say something. Which I can't say that because I did blame Kirk right after he made the pass. I'm like, here we go.
I did too. I got a tweet saying he fucked up.
This is why we blame everything on you. But I think, and I'm going to sound whatever, and I'm probably going to get called out for it, but whatever. I'm going to go there. I think there's a lot of I think the blame is shared, and the blame can go everywhere. Like play calling, as we knew, play calling wasn't great there. And I said going into this game, I believe I said it on our pregame podcast, Jamie. I said that if Kirk didn't win, like the only way that he can quiet any haters is if he just keeps on winning. Like if he lost that, no matter how he loses that game, no matter what, he's going to find a way to get hate, right? So like that throw was a culmination of this is what he does. Like he's, he just panics and makes the easy throw, right? But you listen to him talk about it. I get it. I see his point. Like he thought, get the ball into a player's hand for sure and see if they can make a play. Do I wish he'd have chucked it up to Justin Jefferson? Yes. Jamie, you and I talked all last season. If he makes deep, if he shoots it deep and throws a pick, he did it against Washington. We're fine with that, right? Because this is what we miss. This is what we don't get from him. He takes the safe route. He doesn't try something. And in Washington, he did this game. But here's the thing that people say, like, oh, I wish he'd have thrown it to double coverage. If he throws that ball to double coverage and throws an interception, those people saying that, I know for a fact, are going to say, why would you do that? I know it's JJ, but he was double covered.
Well, they say they won't, though.
The haters will find a way to make an excuse every time. I agree.
I would have felt different about if Justin Jefferson was down the field farther and was about to break on his route.
Yeah, but I can
say
it
wasn't even close.
As someone that isn't just trying to hate on Kirk Cousins, if he would have done that, I would have not felt the same way with the decision he made.
Agreed.
The decision he made was like an automatic. You don't get unless you bank that TJ Hawkinson's just going to plow this dude over. It was like the one play that for sure was not going to work. And he had room to when he rolled. He could have rolled out to his right, and he would have had room. KJ was breaking open. A play could have been made there. It wasn't like there was no chance of him getting a first down outside of that TJ Hawkinson play.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think the pocket collapsed, but he should have just thrown it up and see what happens.
I thought it looked like he had room to the right.
Like people will say, like, I wish he'd have thrown the interception deep to JJ. It's
like, I agree.
It's totally we don't know that though. If it happens, all those same people are going to come back and be
but all of them.
No one's saying he should have thrown a 3-yard check down. There's no way that would have been the takeaway.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And there's going to be someone that does say that about Kirk Cousins throwing it to JJ. But after a Kirk Cousins great game that he did have there, in my perspective, if he would have thrown it, maybe someone would have been like, oh, you threw it to double. You could have picked a better play, but to me, he picked the one play that gave you a chance. If he would have, at least he would have tried. I mean, what do you do? At the end of the day, it's 4th and short, game's on the line. I'm glad you gave JJ a chance. That's probably a play a lot of quarterbacks would have done.
Yes.
But passing the 3-yard to TJ Hawkinson was the for sure way that you're not getting a first down. And
yeah.
To be fair,
that matters.
And I blamed KOC.
Because nobody has broken a tackle before.
And that's,
on a 3-yard, come on, Dave. On a 3-yard dump off.
I'm sorry, nobody's broken a tackle before.
Of course, but that's an unrealistic play.
It was your lowest probability of conversion of your lowest probability of a conversion first down. It was your lowest probability.
Yes, agreed.
Throwing a ball to a guy.
Yes, it's higher probability. He was right there, Dave. TJ Hawkinson was never getting that. Now you could say, and I said this after
he could have ran him out. He would have.
It's not zero. No, of course, nothing's ever 0%. A Hail Mary's not 0%. And there's no play in history of the NFL, in football, that's 0%. But I'm just saying,
I don't see why
KOC should have. That. KOC should have drawn up a play where everyone went to the sticks. I'm not disagreeing with that whatsoever.
I think if TJ Hawkinson doesn't fucking block on that play because he chipped.
That's KOC's fault.
He shouldn't have been chipping. He should have been running a route. Yeah.
There should have been. There shouldn't.
I absolutely can get on board with that, Dave. He should have ran a route. Yes.
I thought he should have moved, like Jamie said. I think he should have moved out of the pocket. But I don't think he anticipated the fact that Cleveland would get tripped on that play to give up that pressure.
Of course not.
I think he was relying on that pressure, much like or the protection, much like he relied on the protection he got to be able to throw that ball in Buffalo. It didn't happen. The guy got in his face. The guy got tripped. Whatever. But we're going to dwell on that. For how many years? How many years are we going to dwell on that?
0.
Play?
I'm done with it.
I don't really care. Other than
we're still talking about it.
Well, the only thing is because it
no. Well, that's not a year from now. There's no football.
That play in particular.
That's the proof that he has no killer instinct. That's the proof that
no one said that.
It's the proof that he doesn't not. Like
that he doesn't have. I'm sorry. He does not have. I know this is a meme. He doesn't have the full dog in him. I'm sorry. He doesn't have it. He's not that guy. You go and say, "Yeah, Kirk Cousins, you're going to drive us to the Super Bowl." Sorry, it could happen, but it's not the betting favorite that will happen. Yeah. Sorry.
Everything else in his career, everything up to that point, is that he doesn't shine in these big light situations or whatever.
There's only games that matter.
But these big ones, so that was more of that was more.
The playoffs matter, yes.
It was proving people's points.
Yeah, they do matter, but it's not the only thing that matters.
They matter 10 times more than a regular season win. 10 times more.
Impressive that we did is what we did with that. I know.
Who cares, Dave? I don't care if you win 16 games. You lose in the first round. It doesn't matter.
You're gonna throw away the entire season because it doesn't matter.
Yes,
it does not matter.
That's accepting mediocrity, Dave. I don't care about 13 wins. I don't care.
I want to win.
I want 4 or 3 postseason games, depending on the circumstance. That's all I want.
Our official record is our playoff record of all time. Kirk Cousins has done basically the exact same thing.
We have one generational quarterback in our franchise history. This is not an attack on Kirk. It's an attack on Dante Culpepper, Case Keenum. Countless. Yeah, I agree. Fran Target and that's a bad thing, Dave. That the fact that we only have Fran Tarkenton. That is the only guy you'd put on a Mount Rushmore to the Vikings history is a very bad thing.
And we don't have a Super Bowl. So
that's why.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why, Jamie. You don't have generational quarterbacks.
And I want to.
That's why that happens for the most part.
I don't care if we're 16-0 and we lose. Like Mike said, well, obviously, if we're 16-0,
I don't care. I would
playoffs.
Yes,
is what it would be. I don't care. Like, who cares? I don't care if we're 8 and what is it now? 8.
Do you think Patriot fans were happy that they went to the Super Bowl
and sneak into the playoffs, and then we end up winning the Super Bowl like the Giants?
Do you think any Patriots fan cares that they went 17 or 16-0 that season to lose in the Super Bowl? They would have went. That's all they care about. That's the takeaway.
Yeah, that's what I care about. That's why.
Yes.
And I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced.
No, and you shouldn't be. There's nothing.
There's nothing to be certain that he is the guy.
Jamie, you can't win a Super Bowl, right?
I'm not saying it's impossible.
Okay,
it's unlikely. It's unlikely.
What's the chances of us winning this year?
If it comes down
1%, 1%.
Let's pack it up, guys. Season's over. It doesn't matter. The season's not going to matter because we're going to lose in the playoffs.
No, I'm not saying.
Worst attitude.
No one's saying that.
That is like the worst attitude of a fan.
You said the 13 wins matter. No, they don't. If you don't go in the playoff run, that's what matters.
I'm just caring about the playoffs.
Would we have taken 13 wins in 2021? Would we have taken
not to go? I don't care if we go in the wild card round. We did that with Zimmer. We did that with Zimmer after losing to Seattle. No, I don't.
Care that we made the playoffs.
No.
If we can stay,
I would throw away 25 straight years of playoff football if I could be promised a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I would too. But I'm not going to trash a season because I have this perception. I'm not
trashing it, but I'm saying
you're just being realistic.
It don't matter. You're saying it don't. Man,
Not very much. No. What Vikings fan is saying we went 13-4? Yippee ki! I don't think so.
I agree, Bob. I love the positivity in the building.
Hey, I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Kirk
I am
Cousins.
too, by the way. I have a Kirk Cousins jersey.
I'm hoping he proves me wrong. I hope he proves all his haters wrong. 100%. I hope all of that. Do I think that's going to? Do I think if the game's on the line and we're in a playoff game and it's on his arm to win, I'm not putting my money on it. But do I hope he proves me wrong? And
Absolutely.
Super Bowl on his back. Hey, he shut me up, and
I'll be the first guy to say Kirk Cousins is the.
People do not have the same impression of Dante Culpepper.
I consider Dante extremely overrated.
They don't have the same impression. They're not fucking saying God. There is a romanticism about Tommy Kramer. There's a romanticism about the '98 season with Cunningham.
Kirk Cousins has had those games.
None of these.
Well, I agree where you're going with this, Dave. I agree. I think
we spent too much time on. I mean,
I
started this. You know why I started my channel? Because I turned on YouTube and Facebook and saw how freaking negative people were about the Vikings.
Can you blame any Vikings fan though for being negative?
Dude,
we haven't won a Super Bowl for 60 years.
I came out of the freaking womb purple. I didn't start liking the Vikings because of a certain player or whatever.
Agreed.
I lived and died. I still regret the fact that my dad died before he saw it. We had it on his deathbed. We had him draped in a Vikings blanket. My mom still has it, and I asked her to freaking give it to me when she passes away because I want to remember that. That is what I think of when I think of the Vikings. Yes, I am freaking emotional about the Vikings. Say that freaking none of these games mattered when there's some of the biggest memories in my head that I freaking dream about at night and play over and over again at work on my freaking phone. Yes, a Viking fan right here cares if they made the playoffs or they won 13 games. Yes, I do, man.
Yes. Well, we look at it differently, and that's okay. And that's okay.
I mean, I want them to win, but I mean, I want them to win though. Like I want them to win a Super Bowl, which means
maybe I'm negative.
Someone like me doesn't.
No, I think you do.
No one's saying that. Dave, maybe I'm just more negative.
Like you shouldn't throw away a season.
No, I'm not throwing away.
It doesn't matter.
Because I'll be honest with you guys. If you guys want to know how negative I am, and you guys might lose it on me, but I'm going to say the truth because I'm honest. After we lost the game after the Minneapolis Miracle. When we kept talking about that play all offseason, I was tired of it. I'm sorry. If that makes me negative, then so be it. I care to win a championship. That's how I am. If that's bad, then so be it. I'm sorry.
I want to win a championship. I love the Vikings. I'm a hardcore Viking fan, obviously.
The games that hurt me most are 09. That's the game that hurts me most. That Saints game.
I hope and I promise and I'm hopeful, whatever. Every season, I think there's a chance we can win a Super Bowl. I don't care what season it is, but at the end of the day, I want to win a Super Bowl, and in reality, you got to make moves that teams do to win Super Bowls. My hope for a good team is not good enough. It's not going to win me a Super Bowl. So I gotta be real and say, am I convinced? I want Kirk Cousins to be good. I hope he proves me wrong. But am I convinced that Kirk Cousins is that guy that goes win a Super Bowl? I'm not convinced. That's just me being real and me wanting to still with the same goal we all have of winning a Super Bowl. What's up, Casey?
Go ahead.
Can I just say here, why did Greg Joseph get brought into this conversation of uninspiring? I was pretty inspired by the 61-yard walk-off field goal and his other walk-off kicks that he had this season. So, random interjection.
But
hey, good on Dave for having. I mean, a lot of people don't stick to their feelings about players when they get some backlash, but I mean, if you can do that, it's a lot of power to you. Because most people can't.
Don't own a single thing of Kirk Cousins besides a Redskins rookie card. Don't own a single thing about Kirk Cousins.
It does suck when you're a fan of somebody and people can't handle that and they talk, just because you back them, they,
that's going to be me about
that very much.
That's going to be me about Karl Anthony Towns this year. Luckily, we're not a Timberwolf podcast.
No.
Isn't it like what, wanted to keep him around even though he's traded that way?
Yeah. I like Cat, and he's like the Kirk Cousins of the Timberwolves right now. But
It's
but I
getting
don't
late.
like.
It is.
I still got to edit a video, do some dishes. I gotta be in bed I'm in bed by 10:30.
Can I add one other thing in here, guys?
Yes.
About like how I feel about this team. Like I love this team. And it still pains me. I have a memory from high school. One of my buddies who I no longer talk with, but in high school, he told me like, and this stung when he told me, how does it feel, Mike, that Adrian Peterson's never going to win a Super Bowl? That stings. That stings. And it hurts to know that the Vikings,
No
and it never
way,
happened.
Mayo.
Adrian Peterson never won a Super Bowl in Minnesota. And it stings. It stings a lot. But that's the way it is until we change it. Until we change the narrative, people are going to laugh at us and make fun of us. That's the way it is. We don't have a championship. Same as they do with the Bills, Browns, Jaguars, and the Chargers. It's the way it is.
And I mean, I think there's. I'm not saying it's impossible for us to win the Super Bowl this year. I don't think it's impossible.
No, not impossible. No, unlikely, but not,
Yeah,
not
but it's
impossible.
unlikely for any team.
To be fair, it's unlikely
Not the Chiefs.
for most teams to win the Super
I
Bowl.
think our offense has potential to be. If Addison, you're talking about Justin Jefferson, a young Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, those guys, there's real potential. Those guys only get better. Like some people want to say that obviously Justin Jefferson can only get better. It's hard to believe because he's already so great. But same with TJ Hawkinson. You have, if Addison comes in and be what people think he's going to be, and we do see progress from Naylor, we do see progress from KJ. We do have an offensive line that is also only getting older. It's really just Bradbury who probably doesn't have a chance to really get better, I feel like. But Ed Ingram by himself progressing enough from his first season to his second season is enough to make our offensive line a lot better because we do have two of the best tackles in the NFL. And if we can see Ingram be above average guard this season, I feel a lot better for our interior offensive line. Jamie really has to sneak in Naylor. I love Naylor brings something that we don't to the table.
No, he's got potential.
Don't. Yeah. So I like him, but I think our offense can be so good. Like I think we can have one of those offense. It's every given Sunday, right? Every given Sunday. I think our offense has the potential to win any game on Sunday. I think they do. I think they're that talented. They might not be the most talented offense in the entire NFL, but I think they're talented enough where I think they could win any game this year, even with Kirk Cousins every Sunday. And obviously, we don't want the same situation like against the Giants last year, but we just need our defense to not be what they were last year, to be able to hold teams to at least, maybe 15 points a game or something like that average. I don't know, but I don't think I think it's a chance. I think we have a really special offense, probably one of the best offenses. I think it could easily be one of the best offenses in Vikings history this season.
Well, hey, in 2 months, we'll have a better idea. Because there'll have been a couple of regular season games played. We'll have some actual stuff to talk about, and we won't need to have. I shouldn't say this narrative about Kirk Cousins because I was the one that brought us around to it the second time, which is kind of.
Don't worry, I'm not. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Go ahead.
But yeah, outside of that, any other thoughts before we?
Do you guys think Daniil Hunter's gonna be back?
I am like 50-50. I have no clue.
Not against the Chiefs, the Eagles, probably the Bengals. See, the thing is I don't think the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. You take him out of the picture, their offense isn't that crazy to me. It's not. And their defense isn't that crazy to me either. I think there's a chance that the Vikings could come in and beat. I'm not banking on it. The Chiefs probably have a better chance at beating the Vikings, but am I saying that it's impossible for the Vikings to beat the Chiefs? No, I'm not saying that. I don't think that's impossible. The Eagles scare me more. I think the Eagles scare me more than any team in the NFL.
I had heard that, speaking of like those teams, and they all have really good quarterbacks. I had heard that I don't know if it's true or not. They did the quarterback rankings. Burrow was number 2, and I guess there was like an NFL exec or two that said it was like a big drop off after Burrow to number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's interesting. I'm a big Joe Burrow guy. I know a couple of people I've seen aren't, but I love Joe Burrow. If I could pick one quarterback in the league that's not Patrick Mahomes to be on my team, it would definitely be Joe Burrow.
I'd be cool with that, especially with the JJ history, obviously.
And then just bring Jamar Chase with you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is he looking good?
Yeah. Two-pack trade.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. But all right, anything else before we call it an evening, fellas?
Enjoyed your dishes and your editing there, Casey.
Oh, I will. It's going to be a great evening before. Yeah, no, we'll be all right. But anyway, thanks again, everybody, for hopping in. Appreciate everybody joining. This one went a little off the rails with Kirk Cousins talk, but hey, that's the fun of this whole deal. And yeah, so remember GG Sports Podcast, Minnesota Sports Talk. We're always here every Wednesday. Subscribe to both the channels, as well as Mic'd Up Podcast for our boy Mike over here, as well as all the other channels in the Purple and Gold Media umbrella. You can find those Purple and Gold for Days, Purple and Gold Media, Purple Pocket Podcast. I'm missing somebody. Yogi. Rain 24/7. Is that it? Did I get everybody? Did I forget anybody? I feel like I did a pretty good job of that. I'm never the one to mention those. I think we're good. Knocked it out.
I think you're good.
Good. All right. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining. See you next time.
Skol Fest.
Skol.
Home opener. Let's go. Skol.